You are required at once, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Millionth Show. My name is James, joined once again by my co-host Henry and special guest Tom. As today we continue our Bond series with From Russia with Love. So, sequel to Doctor No, as it's well known as being. So, what are your guys' relationship with this film?
If I had to say, if I gotta admit this, for the longest time until I actually saw it this week, I never understood From Russia with Love. I always knew everyone said, "Oh, this is like one of the best ones," but I think because I saw it as a kid and I found it really, really boring.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of I never really wanted to come back to it. Um, but yeah, this is like for me, I very much enjoy like a cold, especially like a good Cold War spy films. So this is a very pleasant surprise to see just how much it had improved on Doctor No. Because you know, there's kind of like a transition from Doctor No to Goldfinger where
Mm-hmm.
they finally like basically sort out most of what James Bond really is.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel is actually this is a very, very good film. Um, Much more so than I remembered. And it wasn't nearly as long as I remembered either. It's only like 5 minutes longer than Doctor No.
It's a weird one, but for me, it feels like the longest and the shortest Bond film at the same time.
Hmm.
Like when I remember it, when I'm thinking about the film, it's like, oh man, yeah, that film goes on forever. But then when you actually watch it, it goes like just like that, you
Mm.
know. So yeah, I know what you mean. I had a similar relationship with it, where I'm like, it's a weird one, yeah, because it's not the most entertaining Bond film, but I think it's one that it's a grower, right? You watch it and then you appreciate the times that it was. This is when the Cold War was relevant, you know. Basically, I mean, you know, they do go on to
Mm.
milk it a lot further on down the line,
Mm.
but this is
Yeah.
prime Cold War era, right? And they certainly tapped into that. And it's interesting what you say there about it. This is kind of like this is a proper espionage film. You know, this is actually very, I suppose, as close as you get to sort of source material, whereas, you have an actual spy doing spy things in a
Yeah.
relevant kind of
Yeah.
situation, in a relevant time as well. This is pretty much a prime espionage film. I don't know if you remember, we had a teacher, Mr. Morby, and
Mm.
at school, and this was his favorite Bond film for those reasons. And he's not like a casual man. He knows about Bond. And that always, I remember that giving me just another perspective on this film. I must have been about 15 when he told me. And he was like, "Yeah, it's actually about proper spy stuff. It's not like this
Yeah.
what Bond went on to become post Goldfinger, basically."
Yeah. Well, I mean, how do you feel about it, Tom, when it comes to From Russia with Love?
Well, well, of course, the same as you two. I found it very boring when I was younger. But actually, I went through a period where, like, probably pushed into like my top three favorite Bond films.
Wow.
I really liked it because it was just a period of like kind of understanding and like the plot and parts of it being
Mm.
revealed to you as you grow up. But afterwards, when I rewatched it, it just kind of felt a bit. I don't know, lackluster because it's like reading a book, maybe a really detailed book again and again and again. Like you get the plot once, but that's the thing, you can only get the plot once, and then like afterwards, it's like, oh, okay, again and again. And for a film that seems to like rely on its the strength of its plot a lot rather than having lots of entertainment, then it just kind of feels. I think it's a bit too like heavy on like one side, really. Like James Bond is entertainment at the end of the day, and this will probably be like forever the favorite of all like film critics and stuff who like really go in for the spy thriller thing. But in the context of James Bond films, I think it like sticks out a bit in that way, and yeah, we'll see. And of course, everyone like you said, Mr. Morby. So we'll see how it does into the knife of the reviewers, though.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point of view you put on it with the fact that it is a very well written film and it relies on its plot a lot. which is it's a great plot. It's probably one of the best plots in the whole
Yeah, I had to
franchise.
say it's brilliant plot.
But having said that, I think the downfall of that is the fact that it doesn't have much rewatch value. That's, I think, the biggest. If you watch this film once or twice, I think it would really. That's the most it can offer, really. If you watched it many more times than that, like we have, then it becomes. Yeah, I think it's nice, and obviously because we were watching it this week to actually review it, so you're taking notes and you're paying attention to certain things, so you get a lot out of it. But From Russia with Love is a film I appreciate, but it's not one that I go and, it's far from a Bond film that I go back and rewatch. Very rarely, probably even less than Doctor No, actually.
Well, I think that's fair enough, but I do have to say I really managed to appreciate the plot this time, especially one of my favorite periods in history is the Cold War, so this is obviously an easy win for me. I have a couple of bits of trivia first before we actually get into the film.
Go ahead,
The
and
fact that
just
one of
before
them,
you go ahead,
yeah.
obviously you should just point out this was released in 1963. This is back in the day where they didn't wait 5 years between Bond films; it was only 1 year.
Yeah.
And obviously everyone basically came back. Terence Young directing, Sean Connery as Bond. So just to get that out of the way. So yeah, go ahead, Henry.
Yeah.
John Barry for the
Well,
first
speaking
time.
of hmm?
No, we
Speaking
just
of
get John
Terence
Barry
Young,
for the first time. Sorry.
yeah. Speaking of Terence Young, actually, at one point during filming, he was in a helicopter which actually crashed over water, and he got trapped basically in it. But he basically used the canopy in the copter as like a big air bubble, and he kept continuing filming with his arm in a sling. So
No way.
respect for that.
Respect, man.
Wouldn't see that today. But
Mm.
and another thing about this is in I think 1961, JFK, I assume everyone knows that he used to be a US president. He had From Russia with Love in his top 10 novels of all time,
Oh.
and which is one of the reasons why they tried to make this as the second one. And this is supposedly the last film he ever saw before he was killed.
Is
So,
that right? Wow. That is interesting.
yeah.
Can you imagine being alive at this point though? Like it's just one after another of these classic films being released year after year, and now it completely different from now. It must have been completely different times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know
It's
that
like
was
they
his
had
final film. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they were doing, this like the release window of all of these, the first of these films reminds me of like, the Saw lineup. They just
Yeah, I
did
was
one a
just going to
year,
say.
and it's just no
Because
messing around,
quick reminder that Saw holds the record for most consecutive films like annually released. I can't remember how they term it, but
Yeah, it's
basically
literally
released a
seven.
film every single year from 2004 to 2009.
Okay. I don't know.
10?
Well,
Yeah, 2010,
it
I
was
think.
the original Saw till Saw 7, one after the other.
Yeah, so 2010 or 11. I think 11,
Yeah,
actually. We should know
maybe.
this shit, man, shouldn't we? Never
Well, I
mind.
think the original Saw was 2005, so,
No, it's
you know.
2004.
All right.
Yeah,
Never
anyway,
mind then.
back to Bond. So yeah, From Russia with Love. Funny that I realised last night for the first time that no one sets foot in Russia for a single moment. I found that quite. That's something I learned yesterday for the first time.
That kind of brings it down, in my opinion, a bit because it's just like Doctor No is about Doctor No, and it's like lots of the films about that character, but this is like From Russia with Love, and then none of it takes
Yeah,
place.
but it's
Yeah,
got
but
the original.
how are they ever going to film this in the Soviet Union, though?
Well, they
Yeah,
managed to film other films in
East Germany, if you're
politically
lucky.
difficult countries like China and stuff later on. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but
but
that
this
was in like
this
the
is prime
90s.
Cold War era, Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
No, I mean, it just surprised me. Like, it just never registered with me. I mean, it was just something that I never paid attention to. But then I was watching. I was like, oh, okay. They don't set foot in Russia. That was a bit of a surprise for me. But
yeah, it's a shame, but there
anything
wasn't
in that
much they could really
context.
do about it. I mean,
Well, they do go back to Russia eventually, so
yeah, was it in GoldenEye the first time that they actually are like properly in Russia for a bit?
I
Because,
think it is. Yeah,
yeah,
I
because
think
that's when, Soviet Union have fallen. So,
yeah.
not 100%. Like you do see you do see other bits of other films take place in Russia, but it's just not where James Bond is. So like when General Orlov and stuff having that.
Oh,
meeting.
yeah, that's
That's in
Oh
Russia.
yeah, where they're in like a Pinewood set.
Yeah.
No. That's actually in Russia, and then
Doubt it.
We'll
Well,
find out.
I suppose we could just jump into the plot then, really. So we open up with the classic gun barrel sequence, and then it's a really interesting pre-credit sequence here. We have this like dark maze kind of thing, like in a hedge kind of garden, and Bond is like walking around. He's fully tuxedo, gun, like walking around. It's a lot of suspense, a lot of tension. He's been followed by Red Grant, obviously. He's so they're sort of doing a bit of cat and mouse, looking for each other, like Hunter style. And we get a bit of a fake out because Bond gets like garroted, with the watch thing, and then it turns out it's not Bond at all. They take off a mask, and we meet Goggle as well. I mean, not Goggle in this film, but same
he
actor.
goes on to play him. Yeah.
So this is our first ever Bond pre-credit sequence. So
and also
Bond fake out death, basically.
yeah. I'm gonna keep a Bond as dead counter for this. So we're currently at 1 for that. But to be fair though, because this is the first time they did it. I think this is a very good intro. Like
it
just
probably got me when I was a kid, man. I was like, what?
Yeah,
How
same.
the fuck could that happen? Yeah.
It's like they just rope you in, man. Like imagine watching this in the cinema. Like obviously like it's a James Bond film. They've cast Sean Connery. He can't just die in the first 5 minutes. But when they do this, they do this multiple times. In the future, and it's just like.
Yeah, I would argue though that this was probably the most effective because it'd never been done before, and like this was only the second James Bond film, so it wasn't like a given that there'd be another one after this and another and another. So
Yeah.
he could have died, and in the audience's mind, it was perfectly feasible for him to die in one of them. So, yeah.
I think it's worth talking about Red Grant. He's the single
as
male
well.
from Russia with Love, isn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't.
Daniel Craig.
Doesn't he look like Daniel Craig, Henry? Do you reckon?
Yeah, a bit. Well, yeah, he's blonde. That's
No, nothing. In fact, that's probably the part of him which least looks like Daniel Craig. His actual face, he's got that sort of. I mean, Daniel Craig looks more of a potato kind of face, but so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought I was bit the resemblance is a little bit uncanny, and I was like, damn. But yeah, Red Grant, he's going around there. He's like, he doesn't have a single line of dialogue until like the end of the film. He's just shooting people and like.
Yeah, I've got to say.
On his Sigma grind set,
Red Grant is such a highlight in this film. It's ridiculous, man. Like they use him like perfectly throughout this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like he's just he doesn't even have to say anything. He's just there. He drops off the screen for a bit, and then he like reemerges for 30 seconds or something, just to remind you he's still there. And it's like he could pop up at any time. You know?
And they use some really good music cues, just like when you see him and like bang, it's like. Yeah, that's it's very cool, very good.
And the whole time,
it's our first henchman, I believe, as well, isn't it? He's our first henchman.
Yeah, he's the
basically.
first hitman kind of henchman.
Yeah, and also the first of many sort of like equals to Bond, like the dark side of Bond sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's very much like the first kind of Nazi kind of
6'2" blonde,
yeah. Like they read his record. It's like, oh yeah, this guy killed quite a few people, but at least they only had to leave at that. Nowadays, it had to be like organ trafficking, terrorism, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, he they with him like it's another thing they did really well, which they did in Doctor No very well, as you kind of build up to his encounter with James Bond very well. And you don't actually get that with many other villains, I think, especially later on, which is something it's a shame, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, so then it just turns out it's all like a training thing, so that's pretty cool reveal. And then we get to our song From Russia with Love, like same title as the name of the film. We get our first credits with belly dancing and it's interesting, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, the thing is, it's just like when it comes to watching like Bond credits in the beginning, I'm just like, yeah, okay. Right. Imagine it must have been like awkward if you like went with your family to watch this like in cinema, right? Like back in the day.
I don't know, man. We all watched it with our families and stuff. I don't really think it's like that awkward, you know. Like, I mean, there are far more awkward films and moments to watch with your family than these.
Yeah,
I think.
that's true. But
So,
I would like to make a mention that they actually did remember to credit the art director Sid Kane in this one, so they didn't have to keep giving out golden pens like in Doctor No.
oh,
Uh,
that's good to know. I can
they,
see.
they must,
I'd
yeah,
have
they had to
taken
like
the
double
gold
check
pen,
everything on it.
honestly, because it's that versus like a name in the credits, which no one's gonna like really look at anyway. So
Yet here we are on the Millionth show, 60 years later, discussing his name. So,
good point.
you know,
Still,
and yeah. So obviously we're going to rank this against the Bond theme. The Bond theme does fade in at the end, which is pretty cool. I like how they did that.
yeah, yeah. They use the Bond theme in this. They do like variations of it, which I think are quite good. Um, it's slightly different throughout this. I mean, they do it in quite a few of the films. Like if it's like slightly like they flavored it almost.
I think
Um,
it's talking about the 007 theme.
no, I'm not talking about like
Yeah,
the
you are. It's the 007 theme which pops up in this, and then Moonraker, and I think You Only Live Twice as well.
not the action, not like the action theme. I mean, is in the actual 007
Oh,
theme.
okay.
Yeah.
No, because there's the James Bond theme and there's the 007
Yeah,
theme.
no, I mean the James
So,
Bond theme, yeah, the one from
okay.
Doctor No.
Yeah.
But anyway, like it's hard to explain, but you kind of know when you hear it. But yeah, very good credit sequence, I think. I mean, I was surprised. I didn't know actually Matt Monroe did this as well.
Should I know that? Like
Yeah,
it.
you should. Yeah, did it on Days Like These from the Italian Job.
Oh, I was thinking it was the guy who did Thunderball.
He might have been him as well.
No, Tom Jones, I think his name is, or something like that. Help me out here, man.
I think it is. Yeah, it is Tom Jones, the one who did the song. Yeah, the same. I think Henry's talking about the actual titles, though. Maybe like
No,
is that
no,
what
no.
you're
The
talking about?
song. Henry's talking about the song, which
The song
was
from Russia
"From
in
Russia
Love.
with Love," was performed by Matt Monroe, right?
Mhm.
Really?
And that's the same guy who did.
Oh no, no,
But
no.
what
That's
I'm confusing. The guy who did Thunderball. He did something else, which I really like. But yeah, you're right. Matt Monroe. Yeah, did do the
Yeah, we
Italian
can
Job.
get to that when you get to Thunderball.
Yeah, but I'm trying to. I got so confused because I thought Tom Jones did. For some reason, I got those three mixed up. So never mind.
Right.
But honestly, I'm. This actual theme is like not really that memorable or good. You know, for me. I mean, it's okay, but you know, like I
I
don't think
think
it's
the
gonna.
very
We're gonna
beginning
rank it
is.
later on, right? So it's like I think this will end up quite near the bottom.
I think like the very beginning fanfare is quite iconic though. If you not of like the actual song itself or the lyrics, but like the very beginning of it, the way they lead into it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I don't really want to do an impression of it, so
No, that's all right. Anyway, so then we cut over to Venice, and we have a game of chess going on.
mhm.
So
Yeah, as you can see,
yeah, we have Kronstein against unnamed Western opponent,
yeah, his
and
Canadian opponent.
Canadian, yeah,
Yeah,
and Kronstein. You know, I think Kronstein's a bit of a Sigma in this as well. This I know we're going to go ahead and rank our most Sigma moments, and I'm sure Red Grant will probably take the prize there. But I
yeah,
do want to shout out this, because like Kronstein's there, he's like playing chess, whatever, pretty obviously high stakes, and then
yeah.
he gets a message delivered to him, you're required at once,
Immediately,
and then he just like wins the game, like doesn't speak a word, ignores everyone, handshakes, man, just
yeah, he
walks
just
off, you know.
leaves. Yeah, and he as well.
You could definitely make a Sigma video for that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He he is he's a Polish actor. I forgot what his name is. My apologies, but he he's in a lot of he was actually friends with Sean Connery, and it was Sean Connery who convinced him to take this role because he
Okay.
thought it wouldn't be good for his career, but it turned out to be very good for his career.
Yeah.
So he ended up being quite a few things after this. Tom, you might know he's
yes.
Captain
It's
Ferrera
a,
from Shogun.
he,
Um,
what? Wait, what?
He's Captain
No,
Ferrera in Shogun.
no way! I didn't know that.
Yeah, but he's in
That's
a lot of
insane.
he's in a lot
What?
of things. I think
He's in the original Casino Royale as well.
Yeah.
You'll see it. I'll point him out to you, and you'll probably
Nice.
completely different tonally to this film. But
His name's Vladek Shabel.
Yeah.
So-
And yeah, I think he's in The Lady Vanishes. I mean, his list of films he's in is quite long, so this was quite good for him, contrary to what he originally thought, his misgivings. But yeah, this is a great scene, I think. I mean, the actual
It
location.
sets the tone, I think. It sets the tone for the rest of the film, more or less, in a way.
Hmm.
Because it's fucking boring.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
no,
It's
there's
alright.
there's a lot of cigarette smoke in this room. That's
Oh
exactly
yeah,
what it is.
absolutely. First thing I'm like, yeah, they're already puffing away. So
hotboxing the
Yeah.
what's it called?
Yeah.
Chess
those are the
place.
days, man. So anyway, yeah, he gets this message from Spectre. I think that's really cool. Like, the bottom of the glass, the way the guy puts the glass on the table and then like holds it for a few seconds, so it's enough to draw the attention.
Yeah,
A
he
very
like
subtle
slowly
bit.
looks
I
over
really
like,
enjoy the subtlety. That's what this film did a lot better than Doctor No. That's something they improved upon. The subtlety in the acting and the dialogue, I think was far better than in Doctor. In Doctor No, they kind of felt the need to explain everything. There was a lot of exposition going on. Whereas in this film, they did things and they trusted the audience to just get what was going on.
Yeah. I like it when he puts the glass down for him, like, and he's just like, "Oh, you need to pay attention to this." He's like having a competition, like with Doctor No previously, to see who can look at something like even slower.
Yeah.
I think like it's interesting that you think that way about it. I always thought that when the glass is put down, he's like triggered or something because he's like so focused on his chess game, and then like
I think
even the small sound of the glass going down.
I
is,
think
like,
there's that as well, but obviously he needs his attention drawn to it. I'm sure he
Yeah.
had his eyes on the prize,
but he'd probably see it anyway because it's at the bottom of the
And he
card.
still
Yeah,
won.
he probably knew he had this one in the bag anyway. So
Just gets to like flex to the person. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is
So anyway-
actually, I think this chess game is actually also, the moves are identical to an actual chess game that happened, I think, the year prior. So
Yeah, I heard, they reenacted something
Yeah.
like that, didn't they?
no, I'm not a chess boffin, so I don't know. So
But it is interesting. Well, on the subject of chess, the world's longest chess game that ever took place, I think, was in Belgrade. It was like some chess, one of these like this chess tournament. I wonder if those actually still happen, like in probably much less glamorous, I guess. But
Of course they do. All about Magnus Carlsen.
yeah. But you never really hear of them anymore. I suppose it'd have been more like in the news, I guess, back then.
Don't know. I think you're gonna get the chess community on you now. Chess
Yeah,
Twit's
exactly.
gonna eat you alive.
yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
So anyway,
Well,
then
we
we
get to
go
see
and
where he goes.
so Kronstein goes over to meet Blofeld. Basically, this is our first introduction to Blofeld, albeit from behind.
Hmm.
And he's obviously and we also meet Kleb as well, Rosa Kleb, of course. This is a really interesting scene now because it's just like, okay, what I really appreciate about this film, I think the benefit is that from the benefit of watching Doctor No directly before it, because I'm enjoying this very much as like a direct sequel to Doctor No, and I think that's where it's the strongest, because what they do is they refer to Doctor No a lot. They actually name check him here,
Yeah,
and
revenge for him.
yeah, that's
That's what
right.
they say, really.
Blofeld is this is something I actually completely forgot about until watching this, was the fact they used to have numbers for Spectre for their agents, right? So Blofeld's number 1, Kleb is number 3, and Tom, we were saying Doctor No was number 2 potentially,
like,
and then he was
Largo's number 2, but it's kind of not hard to assume that Doctor No was number 2 before that. So
Maybe he's number 4. Who knows?
I find it interesting that Kleb was like, because she just got. It sounds to me like she just defected more or less, right? And then
Yeah.
she's already number 3. That's like a pretty quick.
Well, to be fair,
rise to power.
if you're chief of intelligence operations in the Soviet Union, you would
Well,
definitely want to have them high
yeah,
up.
she's
in
like
the
a
ranks.
valuable asset. Can you
It's
imagine
like
I suppose.
in the
Imagine a chief
interview
of
or whatever,
CIA turns up there, like,
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
in the like interview, she'd have probably been like negotiating what position she'd get and put compromise number 3 or whatever.
I mean,
And then-
she's probably. Oh yeah, go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, Blofeld voiced by Sean Connery, man. You know, did you notice how like he's just like it's literally sounds like Sean Connery.
Well,
Mm.
not on the voice might sound similar, but the actor for him is very different. At least the one in Thunderball who you see, at the very least, maybe even this one as well, is actually acted by the guy who did Professor Dent in the old film.
No shit.
No, he
You
actually.
No
serious?
way.
Yeah, you didn't know that, Henry.
No
No,
way.
I didn't actually.
Yeah, so he gets to get rise from the grave again with similarly a promotion.
James
So
Bond should have shot him a third time.
yeah,
He's right. He's right. Anthony Dawson. That's mental.
That is nuts.
it's him
Wow.
distributing the spiders this time.
But that wasn't his voice though.
That wasn't his voice, but it's the actor.
That's still crazy though. But anyway,
One thing that also is really cool is that in the credits, Jake Blofeld's actually like listed
Oh, yeah.
as a question.
yeah, it's a question mark.
Very
so,
cool.
but yeah, now we know.
And obviously we get the whole with the plot itself. I mean, they explain a lot of stuff. They you've got the whole fish analogy as well.
Yeah,
So you know,
Siamese fighting fish, and like the third one, which is supposed to be like
yeah.
cleverly waiting, is actually behind a sheet of glass, so it can't do anything anyway. So, yeah, another exotic pet Spectre has
Yeah,
might or
of course.
might not get thrown at Bond.
Might not be the
later.
last one either.
Yeah, there's actually a well. Also, you get to see his cat here as well. So
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
something I'd like to bring attention to is the fact that this is supposedly Spectre's headquarters. This is actually the place where it was shot was the main office administration building in Pinewood Studios. So it is actually someone's head office, just not Blofeld's.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So then we go over to we go over. We're back with Red Grant. He's getting as I've written here, a busty back rub, and Goggle and Kleb rock up to go and meet him. Basically, they're like, yeah, this is the man with a plan, and they go check him out. You know, he's built like a brick wall, isn't he?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And I always this always gets me, man. When I was a kid, especially, you know, like because obviously they walk through the training center, Goggle and Claire. Well, no, I'm calling him Goggle. He's not Goggle in this film, but he's a good.
We know him as Goggle. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're walking through the training center and stuff, you know, which is pretty cool. Becomes a bit of a Bond trope as well, and then obviously they find Red Grant, you know, and they get him to stand up and stuff, and then she's inspecting him, and then she gets out the knuckle duster, man, and then like whams him right in the stomach. And man, that gets me every time. That's like
Yeah.
he doesn't he sort of
He rocks
moves.
a little
He
bit.
rocks a little bit, yeah, but he's like
Yeah.
impressive.
You really
Yeah.
you really get the idea for how sadistic.
Yeah,
Kleb is
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
exactly. It's a great way of setting her up as well, you know.
Yeah.
And he just says he seems fit enough, like he'll do whatever, you know. Like
Yeah. This is the
funny,
first.
yeah. No, like the funny thing is like you kind of like because these '60s film are really like really subtle about hinting if someone was like same-sex attracted. So like the way they did it with Kleb was like when he offers to take her arm, she kind of like flinches at him.
Wow.
That's it.
Well, anyway, what was it that? Yeah, this is the only time I always remember it's just Kleb punched him. It was only this time I didn't realize she got like a full knuckle
yeah.
duster to him.
Brass knuckles, yeah.
What did you
man.
think it was?
Well, I didn't register because
fidget
I'd seen it so long ago that didn't remember that.
Yeah, that's like pretty brutal, man. It's fair play. I know, yeah. So
Oh yeah. One thing I almost forgot to mention. You know, there's the training camp island is actually in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang as well. It's like that. The main what's her name? Truly, whatever her name is. That's her like family house or whatever. So
Nice to know.
like quite funny to contrast them.
So then we go back to Istanbul and we meet Tatiana, our Bond girl, of course. She's coming out of her like she's just done with work, and then she goes to meet Rosa Klebb basically, and she's being followed by Red Grant as well, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we get to meet her. So this is quite an interesting scene. I think the dialogue is quite good.
I think this is. Yeah, I think Rosa Klebb is an underrated potential Sigma female in this film because she's literally like she's blagging like asking to meet in like some abandoned looking like building like pretending to be they're like still like the chief of intelligence, right, for Russia, and is like just saying, yeah, you've got this mission to do, and she has a really, I think she has a cool line where she's like, oh, where Tatiana's like, oh, what if I refuse? She says, then you won't leave this room alive, and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's just like also it's like, yeah, you're not here to ask questions, like answer me, man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, I think that's more just communism, for want of a better.
Yeah, true, but
That's
still.
just straight communism. That's all you're seeing in this scene, I think.
I think like she circumnavigates it very well. She like almost kind of gets caught when Tatiana's like she's like, oh, the mess is like, oh, the message said, and then Rosa Kleb's like, yeah, I know, I sent it, and then it's like if Tatiana stopped and thought for a second, she might have wondered, oh, why is she personally sending messages? But it moves on very quickly, and the thing when she says like then you won't leave this room alive is like kind of implies that Red Grant was there
Yeah,
to like
yeah,
kill
100%,
her
100%.
if
Yeah.
she didn't obey.
And who knows if how many Tatianas were there before that refused and were killed? Like she might not have even been the first one if you think
Yeah,
about it.
it's just like Rosa Club's just stuffing like the last locker they have there that's not like full of like corpses, and then
Yeah.
saying, all right, send the next one in, will you?
And of course, yeah, this is obviously she's handed a photograph of Bond as well, and just yeah. So here's your Tinder date, basically.
Yeah, more or less.
And yeah, so then we actually go to meet Bond himself. Finally, actually Bond this time, and he's kicking back, doing a bit of fishing with Sylvia Trench. She's back as well for the last
Yeah,
time.
it was yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, go on, Henry.
yeah, because she was meant to be in as his like kind of his regular girlfriend in most of the films, but
Hmm.
I don't know for what reason she didn't return for the other ones, but like, I guess I might
Yeah,
find
because
out
I
when we
believe
do Goldfinger.
they were like, yeah, they wanted to make her recurring, but then they just shelved it. It was just like,
Like,
well, which I'm glad they did. I think her involvement in this film wasn't necessary, other than for Bond's, like, continuing the trope of, oh, I'll be 1 hour, 1.5 hours.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
I
basically.
think that was already tiring at this point, and I'm glad they did get rid of her because I think it was just like unnecessary, and and the whole scene here is really, it just doesn't age well, man. It's so, I mean, there's a lot of things in this film that don't age particularly well, especially Bond with women. And
Yeah.
this is one of them where it's just like, it's so 60s. And she's, just begging him, but like just begging for him, worshipping him and stuff. And it's kind of like, yeah, this isn't very, it's a sign of the times, right?
the British pastime of bunting as well, or however they call it, is yeah. I don't hear much of that nowadays either. But yeah, it's funny to imagine though that she was actually meant to be like the main Bond girl of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, or wherever the sixth one was meant to be at that point, or eventually. But it's just so impossible to imagine her in that kind of role.
That would have made sense though, because that, well, we're not going to do future spoilers as much as we can avoid it, but yeah.
Yeah, even for a
Um,
film that did come out 50 years ago.
Yeah. But anyway, also, I always think this is interesting. Mum always points it out, like how, he has a car phone, and that was really prestigious back then. That's like
Yeah,
luxury, like a
it's
car phone.
James Bond flicks, Yeah,
Legacy.
like Batman had to, be a millionaire to have that, in his Batmobile.
Exactly.
So, I was gonna say something about, yeah. This was still like in some ways quite funny though, like some of the dialogue, because he's calling like Moneypenny as well. She's like, yeah, I'm just
Mhm.
reviewing an old case, and she's like, oh yeah, your old case sounds very interesting, James. Like just
Yeah.
messing with her, but
I mean,
I don't
I'd
know.
have happily seen this scene deleted. To be honest, it didn't add anything for me. Just like, okay. This
Yeah,
just the best you get here is Bond on his downtime, But anyway, so then Bond does indeed go over to meet Moneypenny M, and for the first time, ladies and gentlemen,
yeah.
Q.
Q in the corner. I
Very
mean,
very important scene here. This is
yeah.
pretty significant, I think.
Yeah, this is also quite like I actually never remember this happened in this particular Moneypenny scene. He walks in, throws the hat on there, but he doesn't know M's on the other side of the door as well. He's like, yeah, for my
Yeah.
next miracle, and he's like, oh, and he's
Yeah.
just like silent. He just goes into the room like ashamed.
It's
Yeah.
still
Tail
kind of
between his legs.
it's still kind of funny. Like he's still kind of a bit of a junior agent, double O agent anyway, in a way, and he's just like probably been through like the mission of his life with Doctor No, and then he's just like, yeah, for my next miracle, blah. So it's like completely gone to his head as well, which is quite funny. And then of course M's there to cut him down to size once again. And yeah. It's funny because M's really the only person who can who's consistently cutting James Bond down. Everyone else like. James Bond's able to like maneuver his way around more or less, but
yeah, Bond's still a brokey with the boss man at the end of the day, so you know.
Yeah, more or less.
He hasn't escaped the rat race. M's there to remind. So yeah. Anyway, I think the real highlight of this scene is obviously when we get to meet Q. Desmond Llewellyn, he hands him the attaché briefcase, which is one of the iconic Bond gadgets, isn't it? Back in the day,
there's
when
many
everyone
things in
used
it.
talcum powder, you know, he has a can of that, for example.
Yeah.
an ordinary tin
I mean-
of talcum powder
No,
that
very
you just
ordinary.
casually have on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. He as well, Desmond Llewellyn was actually only cast because the previous actor wasn't able to make it for this film. So, you know. And as well, Bernard Lee was actually cast as M in Doctor No because basically everyone else who they wanted wasn't around either. So a lot of this casting seems to have happened.
Henry, can I just throw something in? Can you imagine if we had Noel Coward as M?
That would have been so good. Like the banter level would have been like stepped up like to 10, you
Noel
know.
Coward as M and Michael Caine as Bond.
Yeah, but then
No,
you just
well,
get like the
how
Italian
would
job
we know?
5 times in a row.
Yeah, or we could just rewatch the Italian Job, sure.
Yeah, true.
So anyway, we need like a millionth Italian Job reference counter now, you know. What was it with Batman? You were referencing Bond every episode. With Saw, I think Saw was pretty self-contained. Although I think I name checked Seven quite a few times. And then now we're just going to reference it. Mind you, it's like the '60s, isn't it? So that is pretty much our measuring stick, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
and because literally in the previous like filming, they were literally chatting with Noel Coward together. So
well,
yeah.
yeah, that's fine. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, so like I say, Q provides Bond with this thing, with this attaché case. The knife, it's got a knife in it. It's got the tear gas. It's got the there's gold sovereigns. I always found that bit like that really dates it hard, but it's
Yeah.
also strange. Like I know it's the '60s, but did they really like keep money like that, like some kind of band? That always seemed very strange to me. I've never seen that in another.
I think that's really in case like he needs to bribe someone or get out of something with a money kind of
Yeah,
related.
but that's just
Yeah.
weird the way it was stored, right?
Well,
It's probably so.
he's not going to have.
I mean, if you put it,
Yeah, but you just have that in a wallet, don't you?
Yeah, but
yeah,
I
I
don't know
know,
if
but
wallets
you
were
don't.
the
If
thing
you
back
get
then.
mugged, for example, like they won't search your briefcase like in that way,
Yeah,
will
they'd
they?
just nick the whole thing, wouldn't they?
yeah,
Well,
but
no, well, then when they open it, you know, when you find out where they live, you see the tear gas go out, and then you get in the room, you take out the knife, you stab them because you left your pistol at
Yeah.
home, and anyway.
I don't know. I'm still not sure about the whole gold sovereign thing. That's maybe it's a contextual thing that I'm not familiar with, but that's just always a little bit strange for me.
well, if you think about it, like the gold sovereigns, like they would be worth something no matter where you go. So if he had nothing,
Oh yeah, that's a good
so
point.
he'd be able to
Yeah.
trade them off in like an
Yeah,
emergency
yeah, that's fair.
situation.
That's
so-
Yeah, you
fair.
can use them in the casino if you want.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
So
Okay, I'm good with that now. So then as well, yeah, what I find amusing about Q's role in this, or Major Boothroyd as he's introduced as, he he. It's funny that this is his first appearance because it's so limited, right? It's just like, yeah, here he
yeah,
is.
he
Okay,
says almost
see you
nothing.
later. He's got no. He just delivers his lines and goes. And then what he becomes from the very next film, basically.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that he's such a side like a footnote in this film, you know. But then we're watching it. It's like, wow, this is the first time we see Q. You know, first of
Yeah,
what,
exactly.
19 appearances he has.
18, yeah.
18. There you go.
It's really like, but you can tell he was just basically
Yeah.
body replacement of
Yeah,
the other
yeah,
guy
yeah, yeah.
at this point.
Well, anyway, Bond on his way out, he gets cock blocked by M, of course, and you know, in usual fashion. And he hands oh yeah, he's handed a photograph, of course, of Tanya, and he writes on it "From Russia with Love" to
Say the
Moneypenny.
name of the film.
Yeah, so it's interesting. They don't say it, but you see it. So I always think that's quite cool, actually. Because how would you actually say "From Russia with Love"? You couldn't. So I like that they wrote it down. It's like I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
One of the less forced ones, Timothy Dalton. So then Bond
I
actually.
think you mean A View to a Kill.
Oh, no. I mean Timothy Dalton, mate.
Yeah,
Worst
but A View
delivery
to a
ever,
Kill's
man.
even. Yeah, true.
I
That
know
one's
you love
also
him,
terrible.
but the worst delivery ever, man.
That was
Get to
terrible as
that
well.
later.
Anyway,
I do have a side to pick in that comparison, but
maybe we should rank that as well. You know, like
Yeah,
the way
right.
the way they slip in the film title in the
Nah.
Well, anyway, so Bond. Yeah, we forgot to mention that M has Bond booked on the 8 o'clock plane the following morning. So he's again doing his thing there. I love that, and he's also smoking a pipe. So so then
he had a pipe rack in
pipe
the
rack.
theme
That's right.
previous film, which we've got to
Yeah,
mention.
maybe he's got a real office this time as well.
Yeah. So Bond
Other
actually.
than what they.
Yeah. So Bond actually arrives in Istanbul. In basically exactly the same fashion as he arrived in Jamaica in Doctor No. He's like sets foot there. Everyone's got their eyes on him.
Everyone's got their cigarettes out.
Yep. He's got a genuine chauffeur this time, so that's good.
It's really interesting. Well, it's just a little repeat thing that they have is like when he gets out the airport, he's like followed by a car, and like the first time it turned out to be an ally, but this time it's Red Grant, of course, and it's.
Well, no, I think the one following him in the car is the Bulgarian
It's a
one.
Bulgarian agent.
Oh yeah. No, are you sure?
Yeah, Red Grant is like probably in a.
I think in
for sure.
in the
for
wing
sure.
mirror you see like
Red Grant follows.
Red Grant is
Red
there.
Grant follows
You
later.
see him, but the one directly following him, I think, is the Bulgarian.
Oh yeah. That makes more sense.
Red Grant's in the shrubs somewhere.
Yeah.
So anyway. And we also get to find out the sort of that code word they have, which is can I use a lighter? No,
Can I borrow a match?
Yeah, can I borrow a match?
I use a lighter.
Better still till it
without
blows
going
up.
wrong,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Totally going wrong.
that's very cool. And then we get to meet Karim Bey. Now I have a bit of a bone to pick here. Finally, this is because Doctor No, I didn't really have any strong opinions. This is like with Bond, I'm going to get to settle a few scores. With this series, Karim Bey is one of them, the most overrated ally in the franchise. There, I
You
said.
joking?
I think that's a bit. And one thing I find annoying.
Nah, everyone's like, oh yeah, he's the best. Like
He's not the best, but he's still good.
The thing is that
I don't even think he's good. I think he's
actually, James,
really
I'm going to make you feel bad
well,
about this.
Sorry.
I'm going to Tom, if you give me a minute. I'm going to make you feel bad about this because the actor Pedro
exactly what I was
Armen.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he had an illness
He had
during.
cancer during the filming of
much
this.
more than that. He only took this role because he wants to get money for his family, and he didn't want to do it, and you can see him limping because of his cancer back in the. He actually auditioned in a previous film, and the way he got cancer was because there was an atomic bomb test or something nearby, and loads of actors got it. And then after this role, he basically killed himself in hospital.
Well,
yeah, I was gonna let you go on your.
How do you feel now, James?
Before bringing that up, so.
No, I don't. Well, okay, yeah, that's sad, but I didn't give Heath Ledger much mercy, so I don't know why he did.
Yeah,
you
that's
know what I mean, Henry. So yeah, okay, well, R.I.P. and everything, but I still don't think that doesn't really Okay, that happened off camera. On camera, Karim Bey's quite cringe for me and cliche. I didn't really care for it that much. I mean,
he's not. He's not like the best.
He's so two-dimensional. He's
I don't know. I thought he has
It's not interesting.
He has a good. I don't know. He has good bits of banter, and he's kind of he's like, oh yeah, this one's also my son. He's got his giant extended family working for him.
Yeah,
in his business,
I don't know. I just found it all very. It's very unbelievable as well that you'd have this. What is he? He's effectively a mafia boss, right?
Not really.
No, basically.
And he's just the nicest guy ever. And then he's he's just what was I going to say? I can't remember. He's just not for me. Just too obvious. It's too in your face. Too tries too hard. That's what I'm trying to say. He tries too hard. You see Quarrel. I mean, let alone all the others we're going to review. But Quarrel's there, and he's for me, and Quarrel's I don't think there's anyone on the planet that will agree with me here. But Quarrel is a far better Bond ally than he gets my vote when we're going to rank them anyway. I know probably I'll be outvoted, but still.
Like for Karen
Oh, you'll
Bay,
find out.
I think he's like on his own strengths in a vacuum. He's good. Like he's not like because he does help and he does have his little like networks like going onto the Russian embassy and stuff to like spy on them.
Yeah.
And he's like MI6's man in the hotspot because Turkey was actually like basically Russia's Cuba back in the day.
Mhm.
But he yeah, the only thing I find a little annoying about him is how like he always is just sat there talking about himself. Like
Yeah.
it's like like one time where it's really on the nose is like when they're on the train and then he's like they're talking. Bond and Tatiana are talking, then he just interjects, says, "I like big families, my whole life, blah blah blah," and it's like,
You see what I'm saying?
just like give it a rest, please.
Yeah, exactly. I think we had too much of him as well. I think that if they used him a bit more sparingly, and I think if he did something a bit that made you believe he's like had some kind of climb to the top rather than like just this like lovable like uncle, jolly uncle or something.
Yeah,
man. That's what do you know what I mean? It's like
yeah, I could see what you mean. Like, yeah, he definitely has like he does not give off the kind of
Just this
vibe of
rosy
a guy
cheek
who has
like
like
guy like
blood on
yeah,
his
no, I'm
hands.
not sure, man.
Yeah, like
I mean. Yeah. No, and to be fair, that's not a slight on the actor himself. I will backtrack. I'm not giving the actor a hard time because I'm sure he's just sort of being asked what's being done of him, doing what's being asked of him. But I just think it just wasn't written well and wasn't. I don't know. I think we just need. Quarrel's very reserved, and I know it's a completely different character and a completely different
yeah.
status and a whole another context. But as a Bond ally, I really look forward to seeing Quarrel. Whereas
Yeah.
with Karen Bay's just someone I'm like I'm kind of
Yeah, and when especially when Quarrel dies, you're like kind of sad about it.
yeah, big
It's
time.
like when Karen Bay died. I mean, this is the thing. I think Karen Bay is like he's a serviceable Bond ally. I never saw him as like one of the best, but he's like I wouldn't say he's a bad one. He's
He's
good.
not
He
bad.
does his job. I
This
think.
is my point. Yeah, I'm not saying he's the worst, but I think you'd find a lot of people that would rank him as the best ever Bond ally.
True,
You know.
true.
Maybe it's just because they really like this film.
I don't know. I mean, he's got very very big like reputation amongst Bond fans in general. I think that's just for me not warranted.
That
No,
book
I
we
could
used
set
to
the
have,
record straight, I guess, but
Yeah.
that book we used to have about the James Bond films, like it couldn't go like every other sentence in the From Russia with Love section was praising
Yeah.
Karen Bay.
Anyway, so yeah, we meet him. He does this whole son thing. Then we go and meet. Bond goes and arrives at his hotel.
yeah,
Oh yeah, and we
with
get like the most dramatic theme music ever because he's like walking in his hotel and we've got the Bond theme song full blast, man.
yeah,
It's like
exactly.
this
I was gonna say
dramatic
it
music
follows
and
him
he's just
around.
there like like putting his socks on and stuff.
he's,
you know.
he's looking around for like bugs and stuff. Like
Yeah.
Tarantulas maybe as well.
no, but yeah, exactly. No, but to be fair, the way I kind of saw it, because like it gets louder and quieter at different points. It feels like he's like
Yeah.
is playing somewhere in his room. He's trying to find what's playing it. Like.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, maybe it's because I think in Doctor No when he's looking around for bugs in the room that he's also doing that. But I don't know. They didn't need to have it like on the full
Yeah, they did.
stereo.
But yeah, this is the thing. I think in Doctor No, they just used the beginning of the theme song, like the more gentle, like intro. This one is like da 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 da, and he's like just there, like oh yeah, like straightening a,
Yeah,
a
he's just
picture, like
ironing his
Checking the
shirt,
lights and
like
stuff.
yeah. So
just
anyway,
having a sandwich.
yeah. So then Red Grant, we get back to him, and he's killed one of the sons, the taxi driver.
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
get that, honestly. Like when I first saw it, I was like, oh, can I have a bit more context, please? But
Well, he
no,
killed the one following
we just
him,
need to
right?
see Grant being a ruthless killer,
we
basically. I
just need
think.
to see
Yeah.
him and that explains it.
Yeah, he doesn't he. Yeah, he pulls up. Yeah, because he's killed the guy. Is this the point where he pulls up to the Russian consulate,
That's
walks
it.
out, goes,
Yeah,
just changes car, and just like leaves a corpse behind? It's just
yeah,
like
that's what he
don't
does.
care
Yeah.
to make it look
Yeah,
like the
very cool,
British
very
people.
cool, very Sigma. This is the thing,
Yeah,
and now we get back to Karim. You know what I think doesn't help Karim's case for me is how like of a contrast he is to Grant because Grant is like this real strength of this film,
mm.
and you see him and he's like he is like unironically Sigma, you know. He's like just this like picture of solitude. He's on a mission. He's a killer. There's no distractions. No, he's there and he's just like he's on a mission, man. You know, and he's like
Mm.
he's on his own. He's very like self-sufficient. He's got everything he needs, you know, and doesn't speak a word, you know. You know, he's like X Y Z, you know. It's and this is you get the contrast here. You go from Grant doing that to Karim, and he's there, and his wife is worshipping him, man. You know, and it's
Yeah.
again, this stuff doesn't hold up. It's really cringe.
Yeah,
Uh,
but his wife saves his life from a pipe bomb someone stuck to his like roof or something, you know.
yeah, that's right. The IRA came knocking.
Yeah, no, like
Yeah, exactly.
one thing that I find really weird about that scene is like when there's an explosion, that there's this random
Yeah,
like
it goes purple.
Yeah,
light that
purple
goes on.
lighting, yeah, strobe lighting, man. Like the
Yeah,
disco is on
yeah.
the other side of the
Yeah,
wall.
they got the rave room next door now. You can I don't know.
Yeah.
Shisha bar or something. Turkey.
So yeah, so then Bond and Karim they go check out the scene of the crime, and they're like, and then actually I'll give Karim a bit of credit. He's a bit Sigmy, you know. He lies about it. He's like, yeah, I was just relaxing on the settee, you know, whatever. Like he
Yeah,
does
yeah. So yeah, my wife didn't save my life.
gives her no credit, yeah, man. So then they go. So there's like, yeah, well, come check out my secret crime corner. So they go down to the sewers, and you know, he's got his little peep show going on there with the
Periscope.
periscope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which was installed by the English Navy, you know.
Yep.
It's really
Just
weird
massive.
though. Like I don't know how that's supposed to work. Like will that just like pop up in like a little mouse hole in the corner of the
I think
thing?
it's under a table or a desk or something,
Maybe.
like some kind of cabinet. That's
But
what I
I
always
can't
assumed.
like visualize it in my mind and like make it make sense in a way. But I guess it's just maybe it's behind like there's a I don't know mirror or I don't know. I'm really not.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, so they check out, and then obviously Bond sees a pair of legs come in, and he's like, "Oh, getting all excited." Um, so yeah, so that basically happens, and then we go over, and then we meet the gypsies. So
Yeah.
yeah, we rock up at a gypsy camp here with Bond.
Well,
Uh,
something I'd
yeah,
like to mention. The reason why that periscope scene was important is because they found this Bulgarian guy failed to kill Karen Bay, so he's like, oh,
oh,
he's gonna try and oh, this guy, he's a dodgy, so remember him for later, and then he
yeah,
pops up later. So
yeah, right. So yeah, so then they go over to the gypsies, and we get this belly dance going on. Like, yeah, pretty. I don't know. Like this is a little bit more believable. I mean, I don't know how many gypsy camps you've been to, Henry, but for me, I think this is. You know, this is one you can kind of go, okay, let's just let this happen.
James
It's
Bond.
the '60s. It's a gypsy camp in Istanbul. Let's just see what happens. So he gets this belly dance, this erotic sort of moment there. Um,
James Bond tries rakia for the first time, which
yeah,
is quite funny and novel to see. But I think this gypsy camp seems like a real dead zone of the film, and James Bond's completely like out of place, and he's just going in
yeah,
this like suit and stuff, and it's
that's
like
yeah,
true.
he's kind of
He-
just there,
But
sort
he's
of.
like the guest of honor, so I don't think anyone's. They've got bigger fish to fry because obviously
Yeah.
there's this gypsy fight going on between these two girls, this cat fight basically. Again, oh yeah, these two women love a man so much they're gonna fight over to be his wife, and it's like, oh okay,
I mean,
like,
to be fair, that's like the plot of half of Emmerdale, so you know.
well, yeah. Well, so anyway, we get this. This is pretty.
one of the
I don't know about you, but this for me is like quite uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it is.
it's just I don't know what to be thinking when I'm watching this.
Yeah,
yeah,
just like
it is really like out of left field, and it's like, does this really need to be in the film sort of thing? And even James Bond looks uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
it's like, and then he asks for it to be stopped.
Yeah, literally, Bob's like, yeah, I've seen some pretty tasty shit in my life, but can we draw an end to this?
yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, well, this is just James Bond going civilizing people, you know.
He like
Yeah, that's right.
he like
Maybe it's just like an insult of like
Oh
Britishness.
yeah,
You
and here's a parting gift. Here's a knife and fork for you, filthy like peasants.
Yeah, because like, yeah, I hope you now to eat your hands, and he's just he's here in his full suit, like.
Yeah, that's right.
He one of the interesting things, though, probably the only interesting thing is one of the gypsy fighters is actually the actress for Martina Beswick or something like that. She's
Thunderball.
Paulina, yeah, from Thunderball.
That's true. Anyway, so this fight gets broken up by another fight, the real fight. Just convenient is she's about to, like, you know, disfigure this girl for life with like a glass bottle to the face, you know. She's just about to glass her and lose her sight for life. And then conveniently a gunshot is fired, and now we get the 007 theme for the first time, which is pretty cool. And I like that this is a reoccurring thing throughout the early days of the franchise. I wish they brought this back in one of the Daniel Craig films. Can you imagine how cool that would have been? Just that would have been such a great tribute.
Yeah, but I wonder. Yeah, but the thing is, they need to have a good scene for it. Like, I can't. Like, when I think, yeah, you might hate this, but when I hear the scene, I remember the oil rig fight in Diamonds Are Forever.
That's the last one I think. I always think of the last time you hear it, which is in Moonraker.
I always think of the one
with Jaws.
Yeah, I'd never think of that if I had to remind myself that was actually in Moonraker. But I usually think of Little Nelly when he's like.
This is what I love.
Oh yeah, that too.
Bond. There's one thing, and we all think of different things.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the whole thing Bond is, because it's just.
It means so it means different things to everyone, even a theme song like this. I wish they brought it back after Doctor No. It's a shame that I guess we'll never see it again, but I think that'd have been so good. Imagine that in a moment in Skyfall, you know.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like you need it in like an appropriate scene, like there's no real place where you could have put it in that film. They just need to construct a scene around it, really. Even there needs to be something flying and shooting, you know.
I think maybe when he disrupts the court session, you could have had it there, but I'm not sure actually.
No, that would be ridiculous.
No, that's too of a high pressure moment. That's the problem, mate. I think
it's too jolly, you know, in a way.
Yeah, it's like it wouldn't really fit in a serious. I think it would have been cool to do it like in Skyfall when he has the Aston Martin doing its thing. You know, that might have been a nice moment. You know, right at the end.
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't know.
Well,
I'm getting a bit carried away here. Yeah. So anyway,
we should write like a script for what should have come after Skyfall instead. Or something. But anyway.
So we get the 007 theme, like we said. And yeah, there's a big old shootout, you know, proper gypsy fight. Bond, yeah, he's there like a sore thumb, man, because there's like there's all these fights going on, these scraps, and he's just like, oh, I don't care, like let me just tip this table, you know.
Yeah, I don't know who's on which side.
Can lose, man. Like he's not helping anyone really. He's just anarchist, man, you know.
Yeah, he's going after.
He's channeling his inner Joker, Heath Ledger, man. He's just like, I just want chaos.
He's going after that Bulgarian guy who they're talking about. What was his name? Krylenko, that was it.
Is that the blonde one, right?
Yeah, something like
that. The guy with like the severe receding hairline, you know.
Yeah.
And like Karen Bay tries to get shot and immediately gets shot in the arm.
Yeah, that's right. Nothing but a clumsy old man.
Yeah.
And Red Grant.
Yeah, he stays. Yeah, he's just sitting up there, just chilling.
He's chilling, man. He's like, this is. He does this for fun, man. You know, he's just like picking on random people, man. Random gypsies, like, you know, like target practice, man. And he does save Bond's life, of course. So that's cool.
Yeah. By the way, as well, because this isn't. I mean, you know, I'm going to ask you about kill counts at some point. This scene, because I think this is like impossible to count because a lot of them. This is more difficult.
Were you counting them manually, by the way?
Well, yeah, I was manually counting. I don't look this stuff up. I have to verify.
You're a hero, man.
That is proper dedication.
But
this is what I was thinking when I was watching. I was like, I wonder if he's going to ask us about the kill count because it's very ambiguous here.
Yeah, a lot of them are like kind of difficult to verify whether or not someone actually died from it. Like the guy, someone falls off like.
You gotta look up their obituaries in the newspapers from the 60s.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, we'll get to that at some point, because it's not as simple as you might think.
Okay, that's cool. That's in the up-and-coming section of our show called License to Quiz, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So, you know, stay tuned for that. In the meantime, so this all blows over, and Bond just asks for the fight to be called off, and he goes, now you can decide, basically. So, again, Bond finds himself being worshipped by two beautiful women. They're just like sewing up his sleeve, like like he's I don't know, man, getting massages and all that. And then he ends up not even deciding. He just leaves and just milks it, and then doesn't.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, you two can decide in round 2 or something when I'm gone or something.
Yeah. Okay, I'm out here now. You kill each other, it's fine. But yeah, back to your savagery. And then, so then we go over to Karen Bay, and Bond's there chilling outside. They're just being some bad boys on the block, and they're looking out for this Krylenko guy. They're outside his apartment, and they're basically causing they're forcing him out, basically smoking him out. So he goes through his escape route. It's a cool moment, to be fair, with Karen and Bond, because he's got his gun there and the shoulder and everything right, and it's like, and then and Karen insists that he wants to be the one to shoot him, so and he does, because her mouth is too big.
Yeah, no, because Sean says, should have kept her mouth shut, because that's like the escape route that he goes down through.
Right.
And he gets a perfect shot as well. Like Karen, as Bond says, he only has one shot, and he manages to get this guy right in the heart. Like he didn't go for the head or anything, which is a much bigger target, but
Yeah, there's that, and also you've got the 6-story drop as well, so
Yeah, true. That helps.
So yeah.
Well, you never know.
So then, Bond goes back to his hotel, and he meets Tatiana. And this is a great time to play License to Quiz.
I want to play a game.
Look, do you see what I did there? Cliffhanger.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Let's do it, Henry. You got
All
some
right,
questions
well,
for us, yeah?
So we have 7 questions. Well, I have 7 questions. You have to give me 7 answers. And these aren't necessarily going to be in the order of how they happen in the film. But my first question to you, Tom and James, is what was the winning move in the chess game between what's his name? Not Krylenko, but Kronstein and his Canadian opponent.
I don't have a clue, man.
I'm gonna say the only chess move I know, which was like a castle or whatever.
Oh, are you looking for the term then, or are you sort of like king?
No, I'm looking for the actual move, because I
I know.
Oh,
He surrenders. He forfeits. He just knocks the king
no,
over.
but what was the thing? What was the thing that he played that made him surrender?
King to rook 2, I think.
No.
What?
I'll guess.
No. Queen to something 4. I forgot which one it was. But if there's a technical term for that, I'm completely lost.
Well, I'm just gonna go queen to c4 then.
Yeah.
That's
Tom, you got the well. I'll say Tom got it closest because he was the first one to guess it. It's queen to king 4.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That's quite impressive that you remembered even that. So I'll start it off with the most brutal, question I could. All right. Now your second question is, well, actually, it's not really a question. Can you name every gadget from the briefcase?
Oh.
Okay. I want to go first. So you got. Oh, actually, how are you going to score this?
Well, effectively, you have to get. Well, you'll take it in turns. You only get one shot at this each, and you have to name as many details as you possibly can from each. Well, basically, give a good explanation from them, as in like.
But whoever goes second is going to win, because they'll get to just play off whoever goes first.
Perhaps.
Maybe we could take it to so James can say one thing.
Okay, yeah.
And
that's
whoever
a good
runs
idea.
up, basically.
Let's do it. All right. Okay. Well.
All right. Go ahead then. So what's
let's do rock paper scissors to see who'll start. Okay. Yes. Okay. I start. Or is that an advantage or disadvantage?
You'll find out.
Oh.
That's an advantage.
Yeah, I'll start. Okay. Then I'll go with the talcum powder gas canister.
I got a flat throwing knife.
I've got gold sovereigns.
I've got the feature where you have to turn it anti-clockwise and then push it sideways, because in a normal briefcase, you push it upwards, and if you did it this one, it would. I've got
the fact that it's leather.
I've got the fact there's an exploding gas can in it.
Nah, James, I think saying you got leather is like that's not an actual part.
Yeah,
It
well,
has.
the
I think I'll have to give it to
is
Tom
already
because you
like
missed out. You missed out. It had the inside. It had the AR-7 folding sniper rifle
I know another one.
and
I
the
know
20
another
rounds of ammunition
And
on
another
either
that
side.
you maybe even you missed out is the fact that it's magnetic. So you've got to put the tackle piles on the side where it'll stay there.
All right,
Well,
guess I'll hold the L there then.
Yeah, it was a bit of a difficult one to format, but okay.
Yeah, I blame you, Henry. You
Yeah.
you lose the points.
All right, you design the quiz next time then.
All
Right. Now for the third question, this is about the kill count in the film, but
Yeah.
without guns.
What?
Oh.
How many people were killed without the use
Great
of a
twist.
firearm? I can give you a hint that it's less than the total kill count in Doctor No.
I'm gonna go with.
I got a number. I got 5, basically.
Okay, so
I'm gonna go 4.
Tom is closer. It's actually 7.
7.
Yep.
I got.
Most of them are by Red Grant. But,
I got like Corinne
Are
Bay.
you counting the 2 helicopter guys?
No, because one was shot.
Got shot.
No, but that doesn't kill him.
Yeah, but he
Grenade
got shot.
kills them.
That's pretty.
Well, then that's 9
You
anyway.
sort yourself out, Quizmaster.
Tom's closer regardless, either way.
Yeah, well, still.
I
Actually,
got
you're just making
Corinne Bay,
yourself further off anyway. So
Yeah.
Russia.
All right, let's move on.
Whatever. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so question 4. When he's getting Tatiana's talking to the camera recorder, how many people are actually listening to this conversation back at MI6?
7.
I think maybe because I have to be different. I guess 8, because otherwise they'll just be first and get it.
Spot on, Tom. 8.
Damn,
Really?
man. Bollocks.
Unlucky, James. All right. When he's given his fake passport, what is Bond's fake name in it?
Somerville.
He's Mr.
No,
and Mrs.
Somerset.
What's his full name?
Peter Somerset, I think.
I think it's David.
Yes, that's
right. Yes,
Mr. David Somerset. If
Guess
you if both of you either couldn't get it or if you both got it, I'd ask you what Tatiana's one, which was Caroline.
You know her one is well better than this, Caroline Somerset.
Yeah.
But...
Well, she makes a point of that. David Somerset, get in.
Okay.
All right. I know what my name in my firstborn now.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3-1 then. Still in this.
2 more. Question
sure?
6.
No, it's 7. 7
Yeah,
questions.
there's 2 more. We've done 5.
I think 4-1.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I've already lost. Great.
So, what tips off Bond that Grant is not an English agent?
The red wine.
Red wine with fish.
All right. Well, since you both know that, from what station was he supposed to be at? Not as in what station he was meant to meet him, but from what station of the Secret Service was he supposed to be
Why?
from?
Station 1, yeah.
I think James put that one out.
I said it first, yeah, man. All right, well, I've improved upon my score from Doctor No, so 4-2.
The last thing is, I think Tom will probably know this more than you, but during the helicopter scene near the end of the film, what film is that often compared with that came out before?
Oh, North by Northwest.
That's right, Tom.
Iconic plane scene, yeah. Basically a rip-off.
You should, yeah. Well, this is claims to be a rip-off of that, so
yeah.
James, you should brush up on your Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah, I'm getting better though. Like I lost 6-1 last week and now only 5-2 this week, so probably 4-3 for Goldfinger. And then I'll start taking the lead.
Yeah,
so.
well, you can hope so. Anyway.
So overall, then it's 2-0. Tom on Doctor No for Russia with Love. So great.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
for Goldfinger.
and that was
Flatline
Henry. Come on then, close off the section.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was License to Quiz. You can join us again next week for License to Quiz again.
Yeah.
But there's still the rest of the film.
Okay, so now Tatiana, Bond meets her. She sneaks into his bed, arse naked, and Bond's there. He goes a bit Sigma here because he goes up to her like he's like wooing her and stuff, and then he's like kisses her once, and then goes, "Yeah, where's the decoder, by the way?"
Yeah,
straight away.
Yeah, because
So fair play, he's like he's business first, man.
Yeah, from the beginning. I mean, I think he even references that like itself. Like they already know, like, yeah, this is clearly a trap. Let's go in anyway because we might get a lector out of it. Which actually which plays into the hands of Spectre, who said, you see, the British see a trap as a challenge. So
yeah. This is why even if I'm losing license to quit 27-0 when we get to No Time to Die, I'm still going to try and win. But yeah, one thing about this scene, I can't remember if it was in Doctor No. I don't think it was, but they really got on about Bond's scar on his back, and I forgot.
I never got
I'm
that.
so glad they binned that off quick, because I think it does come up again in with the other Sean Connery films, but after that they get rid of it. It's just like the most irrelevant thing, isn't it? It's the
Yeah.
most fake-looking scar as well ever.
Yeah, I never got it. It's just like, what's this? Yeah, it reminds me of actually in what was it in Saw 7, where the guy's got his, like, crappy scars on his chest from faking
Yeah, yeah,
being
literally.
a Saw
And
survivor.
it's like Bond's like, I like it. Bond's got the cute scar on his lower back.
Yeah.
Oh, like the villain's going like down his eye, man, like covering his face. Like, oh yeah, that's nice, isn't it? But yeah, so we get a bit of that. Oh yeah, and she knows about the scar because of his file, like, sure thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, they get down to it, and and then turns out they're being exploited for OnlyFans. So someone's using the Andrew Tate blueprint there. Then so they're being filmed. So anyway, so that's all cool. And then Bond goes to the mosque. That's my note here.
He
The
goes
Saint
to
Sophia
Hagia
Mosque,
Sophia, which was actually like really
originally
important
a church.
Orthodox
Yeah.
church, but yeah, he does go there, and this annoying out of place Bulgarian agent finally
Yeah.
gets killed.
Where's Wally comes along.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he literally Bulgarian Where's Wally.
He
Yeah.
he looks like. Have you ever seen in like old comics and stuff, and you get the free toy, and it's like the disguise of the big
He literally looks like
round
that guy.
glasses and moustache. That's literally this guy, man. The most obvious spy in the world.
Red Grant does us a favor and kills him off.
Yeah, for real, man. The guy doesn't have a single line of dialogue. It's like just I don't know if he was just there to make Red Grant look even cooler, man. He just destroys this guy and moves on, Yeah, puts him out of his misery for sure.
And then James Bond later says, like, yeah, all I know is he saved me the job.
Yeah. And the guy's killed over a note as well. It's a scrap of paper, so it just like makes it so worthless, man. Like this guy must have drawn the short straw in the cast or something, man.
He had
It's
really
like,
bad aging.
He wants this crappy role, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, then we switch over. Bond's on the boat. Bond on the boat with Tanya. And this annoyed me with this, by the way. Like, I kept thinking when I was going to watch this film, I've always assumed her name was Tanya, and then it's like, and then she introduced herself as Tatiana, and then they just go back to Tanya later on anyway. So, so anyway, so they're on the boat, and Bond's got his trilby back, they're basically sat there, like, he's got his camera, which has a built-in like tape recorder. And and he's getting her to spill the beans about this decoder. The UK government is listening on the other side, including Moneypenny.
Yeah, until it gets to the point where it says, well, we found, me and Em had a really cool time in Tokyo with some women, and then just shuts it off.
That's funny for me. Like, it's funny first of all, it's funny that M actually gets out and like of that.
M's a top shagger, mate. Don't doubt it.
That stuffy office sometimes, and also that actually disproves later on You Only Live Twice when Mr. Henderson asks him if he's ever been in Japan, and then Bond's like, no, never. So. Little hiccup there, but I'm not sure maybe we'll know.
Well, maybe he's just lying to him because he actually knows Charles Gray will return to be Blofeld in their film.
Maybe he knew Henderson was going to die anyway, so anything he told him was useless.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just it makes me laugh, this scene. Again, this is probably the worst part about Bond in terms of its aging, like how badly it ages with this whole, like, the girls like worshipping him and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, Brett, and she's going like, oh yeah, will you make love to me every night? And he goes, day and night. What about this? What about this decoder as well?
Yeah, it's just like he's had enough of this man.
Yeah, he's just like, that's quite funny. day and night. He's so matter of fact. It's like day and night. Now get on with it, you know.
Yeah.
Then okay, so then Bond rocks up at the post office, I think, is it, or some
No.
kind of
He's,
the embassy? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes to he
Yeah,
goes to the
goes
embassy
to
be like,
visit her at work, you know, as you
yeah.
do.
Is
And
your clock working? You know, like
yeah,
Russian
verify your
clocks.
clock.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, it's also Russian in this case, so that's appropriate
yeah,
for
yeah,
for
Henry.
one person on the planet who understands.
Yeah, that's Henry's alarm clock, by the way, for anyone who
Yeah.
wonders.
Very
Very-
yeah. Well, actually, it was the alarm clock on my previous phone, and because I had to basically destroy it to make it stop.
Oh, that's
Anyway,
great. So then, so yeah, and obviously all Russian clocks are always accurate, and then you know it literally like flies off the wall right as this explosion happens. I
yeah,
think. And then again, we get the 007 theme back. We get it, you know, two for the price of one in this film, which is nice. They steal the decoder.
yeah, the
You know,
Lecter.
gas masks and everything. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Lecter.
and it comes. It's very lucky. It comes in a very convenient portable briefcase. You know, you can just run around with it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not like wired into the wall or something, and you have to
Yeah.
like.
Yeah,
Yes.
it'll probably work if you plug it into like the British electric system. You know.
Yeah, that's right. And then they go and catch the train, pretty much. So yeah, they're leaving Istanbul. They just go jump on the train as you did back in the day. You know, none of this health and safety nonsense. You know, no doors or anything like that. You know, just like jump on
Yeah,
the train.
if you want to jump on the tracks, you can. But anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you
Yeah.
slip, then, too bad.
Yeah, you had a Russian agent as well following them on there, and you
No,
also see that Red Grant is there too.
Absolutely, Red
Mm.
Grant is always in the background there.
Yeah, no, mind the gap for that train.
Yeah,
Mind the foot or whatever gap there is.
that's right. Yeah, so they're all getting settled in on the train. Then Bond and Karen, they work out that you know, they find out with the Russian spies. So he's doing the most bait like eavesdropping ever, man. He's giving that secretary from Doctor No run for her money, man. You know, like he's there, and then he's like, and the way he tries to play it off, he's just like, oh, like Mr. Bean-esque, man. He's like looking, he's like, oh yes, and then like goes to the next door and like does the same thing. It's like
Yeah, exactly.
the
Man.
worst improvising ever, man.
Yeah,
And,
well, he deserves to die, you know.
the guy doesn't even have a ticket as well. Like, you know, they knock on the doors like ticket control. He just pulls out loads of money and then, yeah, gets his suit ruined. You know, I don't like his tailor, as Karim says. So that's nice.
I did think it was quite funny as well, though, because they tie him up as well, and then he's like they've gagged him as well. So like Bond
with his
leaves,
own pocket square, isn't it?
yeah, they leave Karen with him, and he's just like, oh, so yeah, I'm gonna tell you about my life, because he's just the sort of person who would. He's like, you want to hear about it? Oh, you do? All right, and then he just presumably goes on, balls this guy to death with his family history.
Some self-awareness from Kerem there.
This is what I'm saying. Like, in the film, I don't know about anyone else, but in the film, this is like, it's almost like a meta joke where it's like, yeah, you know, I know everyone's like done with my like whatever stories and stuff. You know, it's like, oh, you know, because like we're all this Russian guy in the film, this point just like, oh, he's like groaning, man, like, oh yeah, more from him.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it hurts to be slightly self-aware about it, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, anyway, we get really like now. This is really starts getting Sean Connery slap a woman. He gets to he's like telling Tanya like, yeah, do as I say, slaps her on the arse, you know, and all this, and you're like, oh, and it's not just that as well. It's like the really bad like ADR sound.
Yeah.
So it's like the most dramatic, like when he does the blinds and it sounds like a gunshot, man, and like, you know, slapping her ass like it's like, I don't know, like the loudest
like a drum
noise
or
ever.
something.
Yeah, so you know, that's
cool stuff from Sean Connery.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the age as well.
Yeah, it didn't age well at all. Yeah, so you know, sign of the times once again. Better for it now, aren't we? Daniel Craig, wink, wink, nod, nod. So then, and then we find out that Karim is dead. He's had a terrible accident, as the chap on the train says. And you know, Bond goes over to like check it out, and if you know,
terrible accident. He's got a knife in his back.
Yeah, he's been stabbed. That's right.
Yeah,
terrible
literally.
accident. Yeah.
And then like James Bond has like a millisecond of sympathy for him.
That's right, yeah. Well, more sympathy you have for Coral, I guess. But
Yeah,
yeah,
he's like, oh, no. To be fair, he does bring up Coral again with Doctor No. He's like, yeah, well, first thing I want to do is, find out who kills Strangways and Quarrel,
yeah.
like.
Yeah, but like to put Strangways in the same breath as Coral, that's not fair, man. Like, for all we know, he never even met Strangways.
Yeah,
No,
but
I mean, they probably were colleagues, possibly, but we don't know. That's the point.
he never brings up Karen Bay again, and well,
Yeah, he does. He's fuming, mate. He's like genuinely grieved.
Yeah, that's
by
what
it.
he's
goes
like
up
starts
to Anya
becoming a
and takes
woman
out on her, gives her like backhands and forehands and all
yeah,
kinds
but
of
it doesn't
stuff,
bring
man.
up to like villain or whatever or anything. And it's like, oh, this is
Yeah,
for,
but I think it's
this is
clear
for
that like
Karen
Sean
Bay or
Connery's
whatever.
like he's angry about that, So
Yeah.
What I do like is that with Karen's death, there is like there's a nice sort of music cue there, and there is this moment. He does get his moment, of like you can see it does grieve Bond, and then he goes and takes out on Tanya, becomes basically a wife beater. So doing wonders for the Scottish stereotype there as always. Good old Sean Connery. So yeah, so that happens, and then we get Bond in Belgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bond rocks onto the Belgrade station for 5 seconds and leaves.
yeah, literally. For those who don't know, we're half Serbian, so this is like pretty.
Yeah. Cue the flag in your background, by the way.
Exactly. So I mean, I'm literally recording from Serbia, so
Yeah, in
from
Belgrade.
Belgrade. Yeah, exactly. So there you go.
Yeah, from this apartment on
basically
this
James
street.
Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, he's there for like you say, all about 30 seconds, but still, it's like
Probably not even Belgrade. It's like some Pinewood.
Well, this is
I'm
what
not
I
sure.
thought, because then he pulls up to Zagreb, like 10 minutes later, and it's like identical. I reckon they just like they went to Waterloo or something, and they just like, okay, let's film this platform 6 is Belgrade, platform 7 is Zagreb. It's
Well, to be fair, yeah, I don't know. Well, actually, they might have been able to film in Yugoslavia as well, because it
I
wasn't.
think they would have done, but I'm just saying, I doubt, I very heavily, they probably just used like the opposite platform just to do it.
Yeah, true. But also as well, they're both in the same country, so their platforms
Well,
were
yeah,
quite
at
similar.
the time, yeah. So yeah, and then he meets Grant. What I like is when he is in Belgrade, because it is a key plot point actually. What happens in Belgrade, because that's when Grant overhears the code word, right, and like gets to find out what's going to happen so he can intercept at the next stop, which he does. He goes and kills the guy that's meant to meet Bond. Just goes into the toilet with him, basically, right? Takes him
He's
out.
just like, he's probably like killed him while standing, in the next like stall or something.
Yeah, exactly. He went down. He was like having a little look there, and then bang, knocks him out, So yeah. And then yeah. So and do you know what I really liked? The fact that obviously Grant still hasn't said a single word at this moment, and when he meets Bond, they do the code word, but they don't actually. He doesn't say it. You don't hear the audio of them speaking. You don't hear the dialogue. You just see them mouthing it, and I love that because it's like. That's a very subtle like bit of filmmaking there, which full credit to Terrence Young or whoever's decision that was to have that. Like it just builds up because Bond now Bond is unaware of what's happening. He's meeting the guy that's going to kill him, and he's just this silent assassin that we've seen just pop out throughout the whole film. They finally met.
Yeah, and he's killed like
he's
three,
still not
4
hearing
people.
him speak. He's still like, I just think that builds the tension so well. I love that. I love that little moment there. It's just attention to detail, which I appreciate. Obviously, Grant does open his mouth directly afterwards, and he's like, "Oh yeah." So he's got like the most British accent ever, which is Robert Shaw, quite funny. So yeah, it's almost unexpected because it almost throws me off. Like with Red Grant, you kind of don't really.
You wouldn't expect him to like be able to do stuff like that.
You don't know what because you're not even really aware of his nationality. Are you?
Yeah.
I think he's like some really like. I just always thought he was English. He was just like a really.
But we don't know.
Really.
We don't actually know.
Well, maybe he was recruited. He was probably because they picked him. Maybe that nurse picked him specifically for this job. I mean, it makes sense if you're trying to infiltrate, British intelligence. You get someone who, can pass as British, ideally.
Oh, can I just say, Red Grant is literally me because he's lived in Yugoslavia for 3 years as well. He claims, so, But yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, this is what about with Red Grant. You don't know what his voice could be anything. He could come out with a thick Russian accent. he could be Greek, he could be anything, you know, like, and then he's like, yeah, he's just like as English as Bond, if not more.
I guess that
Actually,
makes
he
him
is
the
literally
ideal
more.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
this is the reverse case of Daniel Craig doing his American voice for Knives Out. You know.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, so they go and have they're going to have a nice little dinner together, him and Tanya and yeah, Bond.
Yeah, and
Uh,
Karen Spirit.
yeah, that's right. Red Grant makes sure he orders the red wine, like yeah, like
Yeah.
red, you know, like not scarlet and not but red, you know, RED.
Yeah,
Just
exactly. As well,
make sure
like
it's
the thing
red,
is, this
not
is a
blue, not
detail from
green,
the
red.
yeah, because this is a detail from the book. Basically, it's just
Oh,
oh well, only savages would have red wine with fish, basically. So aka
really?
Russians. Yeah, that's the whole reason. So like, he's like, oh yeah, clearly you're not actually an English agent because you. It's really stupid though, in a way. Maybe it was like 60 years ago, this is, the thing people judged each other by, like what kind of like champagne or wine you have with your meal, but I don't know.
It's quite only an English film would like put that detail as like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
nod
yeah.
to,
So, oh yeah, when you've got, you see those olden films, it's got like, yeah, like the girls learning how to use like 8 different forks and stuff, it's like that kind of level of.
Yeah, it's got like
Yeah.
you should have had like a gadget trap at one point where it's like a selection of cigars, and the one that an English person wouldn't pick is actually a hand trap, like
Yeah, that's right.
um,
So anyway, and then Red Grant continues his baitness, because he spikes Tanya like the most obvious like pill slip. We were discussing this last night actually. With we were thinking how does like because like it's very obvious and Bond is looking directly at the glass, so we reckon like maybe he was like, yeah, Spiker, I don't care, like I think he was because at this point the cat was out of the bag, so it's like Spiker is like it's fine, it's like collateral damage effectively, they know one of them's not coming off that train of life basically at that point.
yeah, so I don't see what the point of spiking it was though, like
I think it was to like, well,
probably
Yeah.
just
Red
probably, to
Grant.
be fair though, she made a lot of noise, and then security comes if they have any on the train, but
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
Red Grant, like he actually, yeah, he passes off pretty well, and that's kind of surprises me. Where he's like, he kind of appeals to Bond's Sigma focus on the attaché case. He's like, oh, my escape route's only for one. What are you after, the girl or the
Yeah.
letter? But I'm really surprised that like James Bond, who's like really like suspicious of this character who's just got on the train, actually gives him another chance, and then he's like so kind of
Yeah.
he's so like kind of fooled by it. He's just like he switches off almost. He's like, oh, that should be about 20 miles, and then like Red Grant whips out the gun and knocks
Yeah,
him
Red
out.
Grant's very disarming there. It's like he's
yeah.
like, yeah, Bond's darker side, like you said, Henry. It's an interesting way of
Yeah,
doing
yeah, as well, and the fact that during this like dinner scene, man, it's like like Red Grant, like the like kind of the power of his screen presence is like he's almost like turned Sean Connery into like you're now trapped in here with me, basically, like
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like the whole cat and mouse thing from the beginning
Yeah.
credits
Mm.
playing out again on the train. So
I guess that
Good
setup was
scene,
supposed
actually.
to.
I love Red Grant, man. He's like absolutely makes the most of every moment he's on screen. I think it's just one of the best characters in the entire franchise, actually. Like one of the best written, the best like acting. Like I think the way they use him in the film is it's just elite. It's
Yeah, they
elite.
they couldn't have done anything better, I think.
Yeah.
no.
It's real the real highlight of this film. You think For Russia with Love, Red Grant's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, and the fight
Sure.
which they have on the train.
Yep, this is where we're at now. So they go and they have the standoff in the cabin in the train, and yeah, they just start. Yeah, so and the tension is great. And do you know what I really like? Particularly, I wanted to comment upon the sound editing here because you have the train, the sound, the noise of the train itself. You have the rumbling of the engine, the wheels,
Yeah.
the steam, like the choo choo, whatever that's called, the whistle, and it's like it's like and the way they use that to build it, and you've got the lights as well from outside going in, flashing by it, all those things because there's no music.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
music, so all of which there usually would be in a scene like this. So it's all generated by the actual organic sounds of the train, which is so clever. And I think that's just a thing that's been lost in time in a way, where it's like, that's just something they would never do today. They'd have like Hans Zimmer ramping it up, something.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
they
It's
just
just
use
like
the
it's,
natural, a kind of natural tension. They're able to build it using actual organic sounds, which is, I think, is like I think this it's one of the reasons that this fight scene is so iconic and it becomes a trope in Bond films as well. It's very claustrophobic. And these two guys, it's like you really like. I can imagine being in the cinema in the '60s and then going, you don't know who's going to win this. You just don't know.
as
Could be
well
either.
as because
very-
I mean, for a lot of the close-ups and all that, most of this was actually done with the actual actors rather than their stunt
Yeah,
double
has to be.
for
Yeah.
obvious reasons. But the thing is, despite the fact this is only like a few minutes, like the actual fight itself, it took 3 weeks to film it.
Wow. I'm not surprised because, and I love the even before the fight itself, the verbals they're having before, he's like,
Oh, yeah,
Red Grant's
really.
so intimidating because, my orders to deliver the lector and kill you. How I do it is up to me. I can make it slow and painful. And he's like, yeah, you're going to kiss my foot.
Yeah,
The first bullet, the first one won't kill you, nor the second. None of them will until you kiss my foot, It's like, man, this guy's like savage,
He's brutal,
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like the whole thing is like really realistic, and that's what really gets to the
that's
audience.
true.
There's no dramatic moments, no like
No music at all.
Yeah, no music even, and it's just like them two in the train, and if James Bond like you can even get a sense that James Bond's kind of bricking it in that situation.
Definitely.
But he's like Sean Connery sells that almost as well in a way.
Definitely.
On the other side, as well as Red Grant does, but he like he does get one like silly little thing in where he's like when he like completely like bamboozles James Bond with like just how like sadistic their plan. He's like, which lunatic asylum did they get?
Oh yeah.
Which is like just saying like trying to pull the rug from under their feet, which he tried to do with Dots. No, but it doesn't really work in either case because Dots just ignores it basically, and that just gets Red Grant annoyed. And he like backhands him over the face, and he's like, I think that's if correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's when he's like, the first one won't kill you. Like he really has it for James Bond after that.
You can't surpass Grant.
Also, that's right. Grant as well. He reveals to Bond like, yeah, we filmed all your pornos by the way, so they'll be on Brazzers.
He very generously like vindicates Tatiana, like so inadvertently he does her a favor which she couldn't have really like told James Bond herself until maybe much later, but he completely clears her. So
well, basically explains the whole plot, and then like and he's like, yeah, so you kill her and then kill yourself, and then they find this tapes and etc. It's like the letter. It's very interesting. It's all like well thought out. Again, it's the strength of the plot. So then Bond, he's thinking on his feet. He's like, well, and this is why Bond today is not the same, because Bond doesn't smoke anymore. But back then, it's very plausible.
Yeah, he asks for a cigarette and he just
his final moments. And then he offers to pay for it as well with his 50 gold sovereigns. So you know what confused me? The fact he's got 2 attaché cases here, and then like those.
No, because he obviously got one from the agent who was also stationed. That he killed.
Oh yeah, because
Grant has one as well.
Yeah, interesting. But then why did? Oh yeah, Grant didn't know, of course. Yeah.
I swear though. This is the thing. I swear Grant opened the case earlier as well, or someone did, but he opened it without turning the latches. Or maybe I just misremembered it.
Bond definitely opened it. He opened it properly, and I guess he was like hoping to go for the knife or something, but the timing wasn't right. So then he goes, "Oh yeah, there's more in the other one." And then this time Red Grant decides to go get it, and then obviously explodes in his face, literally. So then they have to fight.
Very good.
This is like the most.
I'm gonna even keep. I'm gonna keep a tally of how many times Q has saved Bond's life in this case.
Yeah.
This one would actually count as 2 because even with this, he has to use the knife and the tear gas. So
I'd actually argue the sovereigns as well. Maybe you could even put all 3 in there.
He like makes the abuse. Yeah. He exploits probably Red Grant's underpaid salary or whatever. And then
that's right.
And then he's like, as soon as he mentions how many he has, he's like, actually, we might have a discussion here. But yeah, this fight is like the most intense we get in the series for a long, long time. Like There's no fight that
mm.
even comes close to it until much.
I love the cinematography as well, because you got like the steam still coming out, the gas, and that just adds to it. It's like, it's so good. And obviously, kind of so I mean, the upper hand keeps changing, and Bond, I mean, there's a bit where Bond, he's on the back foot, and then he pulls the knife out and stabs Red Grant in the shoulder.
Yeah, because he's actually garroting him by that point.
Yeah, while he's been garroted, that's right, with the watch. And then he turns it on Grant and then garrots him with it. So
yeah, he had to normally it'd either be, I mean, so far James Bond usually takes everyone out with all the goons with one punch or whatever, and then this guy not only needs to be stabbed but garroted with his own device as well, and then he finally dies basically. So really takes some taking out basically.
And there's no and do you know what I like as well? Because he respects Red Grant, he doesn't make a joke about his death either. He's just he's knackered after that. He's just sweating and everything. His hair's exactly. He's
and I think it might have been this fight with him that caused him to have an off-screen conversation with Q to make watch gadgets in the future. He's these guys have them. Why can't I?
Yep. So then Bond wakes up. Well, kind of semi wakes up. Tanya goes and they leave the train. Basically, they get off it because they're
Grant's
using
escape route.
Grant's escape route, which is a flower truck. So so Tanya goes and sits in the flowers, or lays in the flowers actually, literally a bed of roses. While Bond takes out the driver, and then they drive off basically.
No, spares the driver for now.
Yep. And by the way, actually, this is again a sign of the times in a way, because when he actually takes out the guy, his hands are on the boot. Bond slams the boot on, or the trunk for our American listeners. Slams the trunk on his fingers.
No,
right?
That's the hood actually. If you're American.
No, the trunk's the back.
The trunk's the back.
Oh, I thought he was at the front when he. Never mind.
I thought, is he at the back? Oh no, he must be at the front because the back's just a flower.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, so my mistake. It's the bonnet /
the hood.
The hood, So he slams the hood on the guy's fingers, and
very painful.
Very. And then
you would know, Tom.
And then he punches him in the face. But then no, if you're in that situation, you slam the thing in it, and then you slam his head on the bonnet, and that's it. Wouldn't you? Maybe it's too violent for those days, though.
Yeah, true.
I guess.
That's Daniel Craig. That's how it would have been.
Yeah. So then they get in the flower car, and they're driving along, and then they're pursued by a helicopter. This helicopter is presumably a Spectre one. Yeah,
assumedly. The thing is, though, I didn't get is how would they have known to send a helicopter over at this point? Oh, maybe it was for Red Grant, but then there's not. Is there space for him in there?
The way I kind of made sense of it was they basically must have been expecting a rendezvous with Grant, and then probably him to show up with the Lecter.
Maybe.
Yeah, true.
Because he does say that we've agreed a price later, blah blah blah, and then so when that doesn't happen at the exact time they wanted it to, they immediately send a helicopter out to see what's going on basically.
What's cracking?
Obviously, see James Bond, and that's how it happens in my head.
I mean, also, I'd like to point out a bit of trivia with this. During the scene, actually, the helicopter pilot was actually quite inexperienced, and he actually endangered Sean Connery quite a bit because he flew way too close to him multiple times. But it sells the believability, I guess, on the plus side. Throughout. I mean, throughout this as well, after Goldfinger, you could see Sean Connery gets a bit, he's not so happy with the role so much anymore, and it shows through a lot of his acting. And I can see why, because in this film and in subsequent ones as well, they really they put his life at risk in some of the actual.
But that's not that. It happened with Daniel Craig as well. So it's not.
I don't think when we get to Thunderball, man, there's something that happened to him that Daniel Craig could never hold a candle to.
Well, anyway. So, I don't know, the helicopter chase, basically they're throwing grenades down at him, and then he shoots the guy. But the best shot of all time, man. I don't know how that works physically, because he's underneath a rock with his rifle, aiming up. The helicopter's right above him, and the guy's in the helicopter, yet Bond managed to shoot him in the shoulder, holding the grenade, which drops and then explodes. And I'm like, Yeah, I'm not sure about
It's
this.
a Bond
It's
film,
James
man.
Bond.
You're not expecting any sort of, fantasticism.
Eat your carrots, ladies and gentlemen. It's
If
what
it was
James
Roger
Bond did.
Moore, then yeah, you can get away with that stuff.
Yeah.
This is like quite a
Pretty much.
grounded film, right? So you know.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
Daniel Craig would have thrown a rocket at you know, like.
because you see the helicopter's kind of above him when he does that.
Yeah.
So he had like a really narrow angle to like
Yeah,
track
yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly.
So I think if he managed to get the angle right, then perhaps it's believable that it would have gone on his shoulder, and then he's like, but he is dropping grenades.
The
That is a
music.
stretch though.
The music from Doctor No as well.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, as
interesting.
well.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I didn't notice they used some of it in the later part, which was like a bit weird. I thought.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
they got
Yeah,
like
even as a kid, I remember that. I was like, why are they using music from Doctor No?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
yeah. I wonder they must have thought that was really good, or I
Yeah,
wonder
which it
what they
wasn't.
saw in it just to bring it back. But yeah.
So Bond gets away from there. I think the actual stunt of the helicopter exploding and stuff is very good. I'm not sure.
Well,
How
apart from when it actually lands on the ground, kind of,
apart from that,
There
because
yeah.
it's
is-
just like it's just suddenly it's on the ground, explodes, and it's just like, oh,
There's a
Mm.
funny little scene which is like a blink and you miss it thing. But when James Bond's running to the cover for behind the rock, there's like for a split second you see two James Bonds kind of in the same camera shot.
No way.
I don't have the ability to show you right now, but like there's James Bond there, Sean Connery, and then there's a stunt double, and you literally see two people like in the same suit, but it's really
Wow.
like kind of subtle, so they kind of get away with it. But
well, so they were okay with bombing, Bob Simmons, just like just in case Sean Connery, might have.
Yeah. So then, so anyway, so he takes down the helicopter, and then,
Yeah, not the last time James Bond shoots down a helicopter.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and then we get the boat chase. So we go from helicopter to a boat chase now.
Well, there's there's a scene between those where like I don't know this kind of confused.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
There's
Yeah.
a scene where like because this is where you debut the shoe knife.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
well, I think you better explain it, James.
Well, yeah, this scene is amazing, man. This is probably
Yeah.
one of the best scenes in the film, actually. Kronstein goes to report. Kronstein and Kleb actually go to report to number one, Blofeld, and then Goggle pops up out of nowhere as well behind them, and it's like, yeah, we don't tolerate failure here. You know what the price of failure is, don't you? And it's like everyone's looking at Rosa Klebb, the camera's looking at her, and it's like, and Kronstein now he's like, yeah, don't you, Rosa Klebb, you idiot.
this blame game that goes
Yeah,
on.
yeah. They're totally like throwing each other under the bus as well, trying to. Kronstein's trying to be a Sigma, but fails because he gets kicked by the. But Goggle has like. First of all, his feet are so close together, so there's that, and then like he does like this weird like awkward swing where it's like. I'm not going to stand up and recreate it, but it's just like how that would look in real life. Just it's like
He's
like
lucky
kick,
not
like
to
it's
fall
like kicking a
over after that.
football, but like really like awkwardly, like your knees are tied together. I don't know.
Yeah. I
He's
mean,
lucky not to fall over.
Yeah,
after that.
literally. Where's the center of gravity there? It's all
yeah,
over.
but as well though, an interesting thing about this shoe knife, this is based off of a real KGB like
Yeah, of course.
gadget that they
Carrying
use.
an umbrella or something.
Not the first film we reviewed, Henry, with the knife shoe, is it?
Who was it that had that?
Come on, the greatest villain in movie history, don't you know?
And I've either erased this. I must have erased this out of my head. What was it again?
Joker uses it. Heath Ledger uses it.
Oh
in-
yeah, I forgot about. Yeah, because then
I don't know about
that was so pointless though. Like, why did he even use it in that? I don't know.
I don't know. It might have been a
Homage.
little homage. Yeah, that's what I think.
Um,
Although, which is impossible because everything is a homage of Heath Ledger's Joker. So
Exactly. Heath Ledger can't homage. Only everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, like, come on, guys.
yeah.
Don't
Jack
you know Heath
Nicholson.
Ledger invented Batman?
Yeah. Jack Nicholson actually played Joker to pay homage.
Jack Nicholson? Yeah, he played Joker's homage to Heath Ledger, as we all know.
Yeah, 20 years in the future.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's funny though, like a little detail about Rosa Klebb. Apparently, the actress, like every time after the film, like basically, whenever someone met her from then on, the first thing they would look at is her shoes. Apparently,
Really?
yeah. So she said that's quite funny.
That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. It's a great fake out. It's a great moment of tension there, and Rosa Klebb's given another chance to go and take out Bond.
Yeah, but then she like must have gotten like the fastest like squad of boats ever just to like
Yeah.
hit this
And
spot.
Goggle as well, man, because he's gone there from killing Kronstein to then like 10 seconds later he's in like Venice or wherever. I think they're in Venice,
In the
right?
They're going
Adriatic.
up to Istria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Must
yeah,
have
I did want to mention Blofeld Sigma Mount going like, yeah, 12 seconds. We need to find a faster acting
Working
Venom,
Venom,
yeah.
yeah.
So, met a bit of John Kramer in him as well, actually. No, I think
Yeah, maybe.
although John Kramer likes the slow coursing,
Yeah.
slow acting nerve agent coursing through your veins. So yeah, then right. So then we get the boat chase. So yeah, Goggles rocks up with his battalion there, his
Yeah.
fleet. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
I always remember there being 5 boats. There was only like 3 of them they had. Spectre.
Yeah, it's just the oil drums throws
You
you
got
off.
Spectre Red, Spectre Green, and Spectre Black, presumably from the little the color coded flags on the back.
That's right. Yeah, like
They should have done.
Edelweiss or
They
something.
should have done Spectre Alpha, Spectre Beta, and Spectre Sigma. Like
Yeah,
the
that's
middle
right.
one.
And then Bondi does some quick thinking because they're shooting at him. It's a bit weird though because they all stop and slow down when they look at the oil drums and stuff, and then Bond
Yeah, because
shoots.
he slows down too, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna surrender."
Oh yeah,
Psych! Pass me that gun, will you?
Yeah.
It's funny,
Boom.
like I thought this last night as we were viewing. Nowadays, those huge barrels of petrol would probably be what they're all after instead of
Yeah.
little
The
computers.
OG BP oil spill. James Bond setting.
Yeah, that's right. Killed a few turtles there.
Yeah, that's
So,
what I don't get though. Like, how did all of those kind of like? Because you see, like, it looks like the ocean's on fire, man. That would definitely go
Yeah,
with the petrol,
yeah.
unless it floats on water. I guess I don't know.
That's
Well, it does.
oil does that.
Yeah,
Oil
the
can
density.
be on
Yeah, I guess that would
fire.
make more sense.
Oil's lighter than, but it is like, did it really? They all drained that quickly, and that covered that space between them. I guess we can give them the
It's
miss.
a Bond
It
film,
is cool
like.
moment as well, isn't it? Like they're all on fire and stuff.
There's
Although-
actual people on fire in that as well.
Yeah.
Like stunt doubles, and insane stuff.
And they they jump in the water
Yeah,
and
they couldn't CG it back then.
Yeah.
oh, Henry. She doesn't really matter.
Goggles
Yeah,
quite
go on.
caring though. Like he's telling everyone to jump like quick as they can and stuff.
Yep.
Not a bad team leader.
Yeah. So anyway, so then Bond shoots off, and they arrive in Venice.
Yeah, and then begins what I
Before
quite
that-
like it as a trend in Bond films where they have, you think, we're all just gonna sit back and relax. Oh wait, there's someone else still like that he's forgotten about or doesn't know about. There's
Yeah. This
out
is
to
where
kill
the
him.
trope begins, isn't it? And we get some really good ones that come up, ladies and gentlemen, and some bad ones as well.
This is still pretty good, I think.
Oh, this is great.
As an
I
initial
think
one.
this one's fantastic. This is one of the best ones. Kleb as the fourth, because it is like really the last, not just the last thing you expect, the last person you expect. Because she's there and she's like, and it's genius from her. 'Cause she's just dressed as like the most inconspicuous,
Maid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like housemaid.
Maybe I
granny
just realized this might be what Johnny English was referencing back.
Yeah.
The Chinese killer.
Oh,
When
yeah.
she's like
She's
dressed as
like-
the maid,
It's filmed
Yeah.
really good as well because like camera doesn't even move to her or anything. She just kind of comes in the background. As, like, this little inconspicuous housekeeping person.
Brilliant.
That's it.
Yeah. It's only when Tatiana realizes that, and she's just like,
Yeah. Always tip your housemaid well, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, exactly.
So,
I just stab you.
Yep, with a shoe. I always found it strange though that Kleb, as such a high flyer, as we're led to believe, head of XYZ, number 3 inspector, she's going and doing her own dirty work there, not an
Well,
underling.
there's no one else left.
Well, she probably
I'm
blew
sure
half
she's
her.
got. She walked through the training center at the beginning of the film. There's like hundreds of people she could have sent to do that, but she goes to like do it herself. I always found that a little bit.
The way I see this, right, is she's just, Bond's gotten rid of a lot of, that was her last chance, right? And she's just like avoiding every meeting with Blofeld from now on, and is just gonna go do it herself because she can't rely on anyone else.
She can't face Blofeld again if there's another.
Yeah,
thing.
true.
It's just like, Better do it myself or like yeah.
Suppose.
Or I die, I guess.
So, and she nearly does it. She nearly walks away with the decoder. Like, she nearly does it because she just picks it up and while Bond's on the phone call looking away, and then she just walks off and she's nearly gone.
Yeah, she doesn't. She like. This is the
She
thing I
really
liked
gets
about.
close.
She does not give him an inch at all to move. It's only because of Tatiana that like,
Yep.
because like she's like she's like doesn't say a thing. She's just like like gesturing with a gun. Sit down. Fuck off. I'm gonna go out this door. See ya.
I'm a bit surprised, like she like alerted. Well, I guess it's because James does a double take and he knows her with the gun. It's like, it's really well done that bit, but and it plays to the like she obviously eventually gets like the well, her undoing is because she doesn't shut the door basically, and she had like OCD or something about doors being closed or whatever, might have gotten away with it. And in the novel, she actually does kill James Bond. So
What?
yeah, this From Russia with Love is meant to be the final James Bond novel because like she actually gets him with the shoe basically, and then that's it.
Wow.
Wow.
So yeah, she has a little claim to fame. Technically, she was the one who, in a different form of media, be it, nonetheless does get to kill James Bond. So
Wow.
yeah.
Interesting. Well, of course that doesn't happen here. There is like a moment of tension. She's trying to like kick him in the nuts with this thing, by the way, which is like and Tanya's got like a choice, and he's pinning her back with a chair. Oh, again, another John English tribute.
I think
and then obviously, Tanya has the choice there. She's got the gun, and she's like torn. Who does she kill?
Yeah, because she thinks she's doing it for Mother Russia, to quote.
There's like a lot. People make a lot out of that moment. She's like choosing between east and west sort of thing, and then she like, bang, pleb's dead basically.
By the way, we didn't get a chance to all do our best Sean Connery smush impression, so because he does get that chance. When we've got to mention this with Red Grant, he reveals himself to be a Spectre agent, and he's like, "Oh, is that what you chaps at Smush call each other?"
Yeah.
And so we get plenty of that going on. It's so obvious watching these films back there. I know we haven't got to talk about Sean Connery much so far for some reason, but it's so obvious how he's like his English accent isn't even that good. It's like his Scottish accent really like. I mean, obviously later on in his career he just stops trying, but in these films it's so obvious like the Scottish accent. Do you not find that?
I don't think
It does sound English.
I
don't really bother to like pay that much attention to
I think
it.
when you do pay attention, it's really obvious. That's for me anyway.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean,
yeah.
Go on. The thing is, go on, Tom.
Right. So the fight he has, I think, like, thing is, I wonder what James Bond's plan was. Was to do in that situation with Rosa Klebb. Like, was he just going to hold her against the wall until she just like?
I just thought something, but
I think because he just put his legs far enough back, and then that's it. She can't reach him. So it's
like home of the boxing. I just wait.
Yeah, very lucky that she's a short woman. Like.
I think like in a way it's less embarrassing for Rosa Klebb because she would just gotten tired at some point and then be like,
yeah. So anyway, Tony ends up shooting Rosa Klebb.
And she like dies for a full 10 seconds on screen before finally.
Kronstein is literally me, like.
Yeah, Kronstein is pretty solemn death, by the way. We've got to mention that he just like looks over and he's
like chess mindset has just
yeah. And then we have the ending on the boat, basically, where Bond he's there, he gets his romantic sort of like go off into the sunset sort of thing. He's watching back the porno tape as well, and
he throws it away.
Yeah, and he's like,
and then does the
I don't know what that was. Like.
Dumbest thing ever. Yeah.
It's funny when there's like
doing Daniel Sturridge dance, man. You know what I mean?
The couple of tourists on the bridge as well who are like, filming, and he's like, "Oh, not again."
Yeah.
They should have simultaneously had. They should have spliced this in with like Roger Moore on the gondola going the other way.
Yeah. So yeah. And that's that, ladies and gentlemen. That is From Russia with Love. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to rank the various elements within the Bond films. So we're going to start off with the Bond actor. It's Sean Connery again. So again, I think he gives a really strong performance. I mean, it's easy to overlook him as it's Bond, it's Sean Connery, and I think we're even subconsciously doing that. But he's a good actor. Like.
I'd have to say, by this point, it feels like he's played 3 other Bond films between Doctor No and this. Like, I mean, in Doctor No, he was very much like still very. I think he was still. He fit quite well in the role. But for this, it feels like he's been playing for like ages. But it's only his second film.
I think like he's really good off the bat in both films, but
Mhm.
in like in these two, the common consensus is that like his in these two films, Goldfinger and From Russia with Love, that's like his apex of he peaks basically in his acting for James Bond, and I don't know, presumably every other film, but later it kind of plateaus a bit because he gets sick of his treatment and stuff. But yeah, we'll enjoy it. We enjoyed it, and we will enjoy it in Goldfinger.
Oh yeah.
Also, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to rank the Bond girl, who in this one is Tatiana
Yeah.
against Honey Rider. What do we think?
I think Honey Rider's better than Tatiana.
I don't
think
know
so.
actually. I just said Tatiana. Well, because I like Tatiana more because she is like plot-wise quite important.
She is, and she has a lot more like plot involvement. But like the thing is that
Honey Rider's iconic because she came out of the beach.
she is iconic, and
Yeah.
she actually she has more of a personal thing with Doctor No because well he killed her dad basically. So
Yeah,
she
that's
has
true.
a bit of involvement, and she does like. Yeah, she basically she's iconic and everything, but I think her role is like underrated a bit. Like
She has a bit more of a backstory as well.
Yeah.
Tatiana's very two-dimensional. Very.
She's just
two-dimensional.
but she's just a Russian agent basically from the consulate.
Yeah, no, but you don't. There's no. There's no backstory for her. There's
Yeah,
no
but
like.
did you
you don't
really need
learn
the
anything
backstory?
about her. She's just a vehicle for the plot to move forward.
and
really.
we're expected to believe she just finds his picture and it's like, oh wow, he's a
Well,
trap
that's just a
or-
trap, right?
Well,
Yeah.
it's the point that she's meant to trap him. So
I don't think she's really the best actress either. There's a few moments where she's overacting a little bit. I doesn't.
She's like
I think Honey Rider's an easy.
I don't know. Well, this is like
And it's majority vote, so.
Honey
yeah,
Rider.
it's the majority vote, but my one still goes out for Tatiana.
Honey,
So
Honey Rider, like
I
she,
protest
like,
vote.
she's more like a bit more feisty, a bit as well. She's like, oh blah blah blah. She's like, stay where you are. I mean, she puts the knife away.
Yeah, man.
pretty
That's the other
quickly,
thing.
but
Honey Rider's a threat. Tatiana isn't.
She's very like you get the idea she's had to like fight for herself a bit.
Well, she literally did with the Black Widow in a way.
Yeah,
So.
and yeah, so
Respect.
she's a lot more of like a well-rounded character and
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
So,
Exactly.
but not to rat on Tatiana, she'll probably be higher than a lot of them.
I don't agree. I actually think Tatiana's going to end up quite low down.
Well,
Personally.
this is at least neither of them have ridiculous nicknames. So
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, yeah, she's I think
Well.
Ride is a bit like
Yeah.
on the nose, but
well, it's
Tatiana
not as
actually-
bad as like Pussy Galore, man.
Well,
No.
yeah, we'll get there.
no, quick thing. Like Tatiana actually was Miss Italy for the year, and that's how she got selected. So it's quite, I don't know, achievement, I guess, for her.
So the villain, Dr. No, is number 1. Rosa Klebb, where are we going to put her?
Yeah. It almost feels like Red Grant is obviously a henchman. It almost feels like he's the villain of
Yeah,
this.
it's true.
It does.
Rosa
It
Klebb
does.
though.
She's very good. She's a bit of an Amanda Waller almost.
Yeah, that's how I feel like.
I think Dr. No's still better though. The problem with this film, a little bit, is it kind of shares the main villain role again.
Yeah.
Among Blofeld, her, and Red Grant, because Red Grant gives
And
the plot
Krosstein
out.
even.
Yeah, and Krosstein. It spreads it out.
There's a lot of
Dr. No is pretty much running the whole show on Crab Creek Key basically until they go and investigate it. So I think Dr. No is better than.
I think Dr. No's the easy choice, but I'm a little bit on the fence because I think I'm more invested in Rosa Klebb's plot and as a character now. I'm almost more. She's almost more. I mean, Dr. No's cool, but he's not.
He just shows up at the end, kind of.
Yeah, and he's not so. He's threatening, but he doesn't really get to do so much, and nor does Rosa Klebb. I like the way her interactions with all the characters she comes across.
She puts
Tatiana,
Oh,
to
she does.
to Goggle, to
'cause she puts
Red Grant, to Blofeld, Kronstein, and then with Bond at the end.
Yeah, because she puts the fear of God into Tatiana as well in that scene. That's a really good scene.
Tatiana, that's really her main.
Yeah, that's what she does.
But Dr. No bullies everyone. He's responsible for a lot of people dying, and you see the control what's her name, Klebb has over Tatiana is what Dr. No has everyone on that island basically.
Yeah, but just because he's paying them a lot.
Well, not
I guess.
really.
kind of.
Like when you can see, like when Dent visits him, he's like, "Oh, you will not fail
Oh, that's
me
true,
again."
actually.
Blah, blah,
That
blah.
is a good scene, to be fair.
And he inspires fear in like the taxi driver who kills himself
Hmm.
and the
Yeah,
reporter
that
who
wasn't that believable.
he like won't tell anything. She like stabs Kroll and stuff. So
That's true. That's true.
you see like
You make a good case.
the villain reflects more characters than.
Well, so what do you think, Henry? I'm
It's
pretty on the
really
fence
tough because I
on
like
this.
both of them a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
just
to be fair as well,
Honestly.
it's the fact that Rosa Clever's that's shown as like, you know, it's kind of brought down a couple of pegs that she's quite desperate by the end to get
Yeah.
like, you know, especially her unceremonious death as well. I think
Yeah.
they're
But I
both
think
both
that
very
adds
good.
to her character more than subtracts from it, right? Because it just shows she's prepared to get her hands dirty as well. And I think I respect that, you know.
Yeah. Doctor No is though.
Doctor
is
No's
like-
death is pretty rubbish. Let's be honest.
Well,
And
he
his
makes
fight in
up for it
general.
because he makes up for it because the fight's a bit better than the one with Kleb. Like,
No, I don't
But
agree
you
at
Nah, I
all.
like the one with
No,
Clever.
his
Well-
fight is like 10 seconds long.
not
It's
really.
nothing.
Well,
Rosa
it's
Klebb is like very unexpected. It's the fourth act. She comes out of nowhere, and you're like, damn, you know, like.
Yeah, but that's her appearance in general, not like the fight itself. Like, thing with Doctor No is like they're both fighting on this like little platform that keeps ominously lowering to like the radioactive danger pool, basically, and who's going to end up on it is like.
Yeah, but it's at the end of the film, which is too rushed and
As it
stuff.
should do.
I think
That's the
with
problem
Rosa
with the
Klebb-
filming,
exactly.
rather than the
But
character
it still
itself.
goes into
All right,
the.
well,
You have to take it into account. It's very close, that's for sure.
yeah.
It's easily Doctor. I mean, I don't like Rosa Klebb is good, but it's just not on the same level.
Well, we are a
as Doctor No.
democracy here, so we need to
Yeah,
decide.
true. It's so tough though. But if I want,
No one remembers.
I
Rosa.
think
You remember Doctor.
Everyone
No
remembers Rosa Klebb.
No, they don't really.
no. Okay, you know, this is what I'll say. I think I'll say Doctor No because I want to like Doctor No more so than Rosa Klebb makes me want to see more of him, kind of.
Yeah, he like really like he has backstory as well. Like he's like loses his hands and stuff, and then he like kind of gives it to James Bond about like the people he's like gotten the better of in the during that little dinner table sequence they have. And
Well, we've got a majority vote then. So
Yeah.
Doctor No #1 and Rosa Klebb #2.
Rosa Klebb extremely close #2.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
for sure.
I mean, this thing.
I would not argue again. If anyone wanted to put Rosa Klebb above Doctor No, I wouldn't argue with them. I think it's either or. You know, they're interchangeable.
Yeah, same. To be honest, they could go in either order, but it's
Doctor
just.
No is Sigma more, but
Well, no, Rosa Klebb's a Sigma female, I would say.
well, she just bullies Tatiana really, and Doctor No.
Exactly.
Well, no, but she is very. I mean, Tom, it's because you haven't seen the Amanda Waller before. Like, it's just
Yeah.
the
But
shades of
that's
that man. Like,
whoever this Amanda Waller is, that's on her. She's good.
Rosa
We're looking
Klebb
at-
is as well.
We're looking
isn't
at
it? But she's just like her, you know. Like, it's just
She's
like kind of.
literally me.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like
I don't know. Doctor No's better.
respect.
That's just my opinion.
So, henchman, obviously, Red Grant
Yeah.
going.
This is no one.
Goes
I,
above.
I
Professor
think he
Plum.
could end up really high here. Car/vehicle, we still don't really have one, do we?
Yeah, I don't know what you could really
It's
say.
So,
Bentley or
The
whatever.
boat, you know,
Bernard is M. Q. We can now add
Desmond Llewellyn.
Llewellyn, yeah.
If it's like Peter Grant or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, we're not ranking them.
Yeah.
Actually, we're only ever. Yeah, we're going to rank there 3 Qs.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't wait
Rowan
to.
Atkinson, right?
Yeah, I can't wait to see who where we put John Cleese's Q. You know.
Money Penny, Lois Maxwell once again.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Moneypenny and also Sean Connery, these are their favorite. This is From Russia with Love is both their favorite Bond film.
Is that right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
and interestingly as well, Ian Fleming, after seeing Doctor No, he thought it was dreadful, but it was this film that kind of convinced him that Sean Connery was, you know, he had originally had misgivings about him being James Bond, but then he actually liked him so much.
Just won him over.
Yeah, he ended up, you know, including James Bond's partly Scottish ancestry as well. So in the books.
That's interesting. So then, okay, so the Ally/Felix Leiter. We've got Quarrel and Leiter at #1, and we've got to rank Karen Bay against them.
Yeah.
So
Quarrel is just better, I think.
yeah, it's got to be Quarrel, right?
Yeah, Quarrel.
Like, this is the thing.
And
Leiter.
Leiter.
Yeah, fuck Leiter, man.
What about his Leiter's sunglasses, man?
It's like
That's what edges it.
sunglasses, man. Those sucked, man.
Yeah, Karen Bay is good, but not great.
Yeah.
And he goes second for me. Quarrel is above him. I think that's
We got to shine
that's
a light on
unanimous,
Quarrel.
right?
Is Quarrel
Yeah.
a Sigma male?
Quarrel, like, no one talks about Quarrel as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. We're giving Quarrel his flowers right now, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Just
gadgets. Now we have some interesting gadgets to talking about. We don't have. Okay, so far we've only got the Wolf of PPK and the bamboo reed from from Doctor No. So now we've got the attaché case. I suppose has to go first. We've also got his
Garrote watch.
Garrote watch, which is very cool. To be fair,
that is a cool.
What would you
thing.
rather have, Henry? The
Oh, I'd obviously rather have the attaché case is like 50 gadgets in one, man. It's like
Yeah, but if you have the attaché case, you get called a briefcase wanker. So.
Well, then I'll just get out my flat knife and chuck it at him.
Yeah.
Or you can either do that, or you can pull out all like the 50 sovereigns from the side and be like flex on them,
Yeah. Or look at me with my belt of gold. Let me
Yeah,
just and exchange it into an actual currency.
Yeah, all the rounds of ammunition in there,
Yeah, it comes with a little fold-up sniper rifle, so, well, a rifle, so
Yeah,
primitive.
this feels a bit like
It's good.
Giving the attaché case calling it a gadget, it feels a bit like when the people called the DB5 from Goldfinger a gadget, like it's got like 50,000 things.
Yeah, it's gadget laden, it is. But like,
that's a good point.
I'd maybe take the watch if it was like a really stylish, maybe Rolex watch, which had the thing in it. That just looks like an ordinary watch.
Oh, if it was just something that was 10 quid, yeah. But if you had like a like a Batman watch or like a
I am tempted to go. I am tempted to like rank all the watches as like an extra, but no, that's too far.
Feel free.
So okay, attaché case goes first above the Wolf for PPK.
Yeah.
Okay, the theme song. We have the James Bond theme, of course, and From Russia with Love by Matt Monro, second, right?
Yeah.
Still good, but nothing to write home about.
Certainly not to Russia with. Okay, the opening, of course, which is the that training fake out. So
it has no competition. So.
Yep.
It's also a pretty good opening. So.
And now Henry, we have the Sigma moment. This is the moment everyone waits for in the podcast on the Millionth.
Well, the millionth patented Sigma moment. Not necessarily Sigma male, actually, as I'm actually nominating Rosa Klebb, saying, "You will not leave this room alive."
Oh,
I think no.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll throw my hat in the ring. I think Red Grant, when he says like Red Grant in general, of course.
Yeah.
And Red
but
Grant
it needs to be a line or a moment, a particular moment.
Says,
no, it could be a whole character as well.
No, that's rubbish, man.
Well, I've got a line either way, so.
All right, calm down.
When he
says, because we've got Doctor No #1 right now. He's the Sigma male.
We got.
No, but it's because he had a line which was Sigma.
Yeah, but his whole character is the Sigma. The line is just an example of his Sigma.
Yeah, but that's I know you need the good example, at least.
I think when Red Grant is like, the first one won't kill you. Neither the third. Not take color and kiss my foot. Or we've got a choice here. We can have when he literally got a buffet of Sigma moments with him. You can have the one where he's just quietly shooting people in the gypsy camp so effortlessly.
Or when his escape route is only for one.
And then it's like the other time where he's like, how Miles are to kill you and deliver the letter.
All right. I think you think going on a bit.
I do want to shout out
Kronstein's
chess victory. That's Sigma's. You can literally put Drive to Forever to that, and it would work like something.
I may well do that. Well, not Drive Forever, but
it's very close. I think we've got a lot of Sigmas in this film.
I think it comes between "You will not leave this room alive" and when he says the first one won't kill you, not even the second. No, not the second.
Not until you kiss my foot.
Yeah.
I think because Rosa Klebb's one is powerful, but that is like beyond.
To be honest with you, Henry, I like Rosa Klebb a lot as well, but I think
this one is better though.
Yeah, that line doesn't really. It is good, but I think that's more. Again, I don't really think that's so Sigma as it is like communist kind of style, sort of stuff. So
this one's fueled entirely by Red Grant himself.
We'll shout out Kronstein. He's unlucky to miss out, but he's missing out to Red Grant, so there's no shame in that. Does he go above Doctor No? Is the question.
$1 million, Mr. Bond. First thing is just
who's the biggest Sigma, Doctor No or Red Grant?
I think Doctor No narrowly, but like the
Doctor No
thing is,
never acknowledges women.
he's
Nor
just
does
like
Red Grant.
he's
Well,
he
he
does
he
spiked
spikes
women
one.
actually.
yeah, he has that
Puts retinol in the
busty
drink.
massage you put in your notes, but yeah, Doctor No's just
Yeah.
laser focused on the objective all the time, and
So is Red Grant, to be fair.
well,
Yeah.
well, he has his bit on the side, you know, with that you know, the island, he does it really because he's meant to like he seems like he enjoys it more rather than
Yeah.
I want to put Red Grant first. 'cause
Yeah,
he's
yeah. To be,
me.
I mean, to be fair, does Red Grant own a private island?
he owns a private island. He ripped off the Chinese, and he's like he's basically going it alone against Russia.
Although,
Doctor No
And
is a
he's-
pretty
and
archetype Sigma.
he's single-handedly like messing up the space race as well, and he's like he's
Yeah, but just because you're like, you know, the scale isn't really that relevant. You're a Sigma in your own world, right? So
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
you know,
but
whether you're a Tommy Shelby or you're, you know, you're
Max Zorin, for example.
yeah, or you're a Rorschach or whatever you are, Patrick Bateman. It doesn't matter, you know. It's like it's all relative, right?
Oh, that's really, it's
It is a tough one.
really
he
tough
has this
though.
island. He has stolen British paintings in his like in his
Yeah,
lair.
again, that's just status stuff. I think.
Yeah, but that's in his own
yeah.
world.
But think about
This-
Red Grant. He's like a cut and dry assassin, you know. He's like there. He's like
Yeah,
just.
I think
there
you
with
know,
science background. I
this
think
is
Red
down-
Grant's my vote.
Yeah,
He gets
but
my
Doc-
vote.
but
I mean,
Doctor
both
No
of you. This is really down. This is really down to me. So listen to what I have to say.
Okay.
I think overall, I'd have to put Red Grant above Doctor No. It's again, it's another close one, but
Mhm.
I think the reason is because you see him more. You see a lot more of him in the film. He's like a proper threat as well. He's bumping off people one by one. You know, like no one sees him coming. He's just like deals them like ruthlessly, man.
Mm.
And
He kills
yeah,
that Bulgarian guy as well.
he's really good lines as well. I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
they're saying like
Because Doctor No, the build up to him was all you never saw him, right? With Red Grant, you see him, and it's still like there's still stuff to unravel about him. Yeah, he's got to go over. It's close though. It is very close. He's
Yeah.
going to be right up there, I think.
yeah,
by
it's
the-
great. You know, it's great to say that it's close. You know, they're both very good. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
be very interesting to see.
And
So
in similar vein, I think we're going to have to rank the films, and I think these will be close as well. Right?
really?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
So
From
what
Russia
would you-
with Love is leagues above Doctor No.
So
I
you
think.
put From Russia with Love first.
Yeah, easily.
I have
What
to
about you,
say
Tom?
Doctor No, honestly, because I mean, the thing is, there's a strong plot in From Russia with Love, but plot's just one aspect. Like, Doctor No has characters, iconic moments in spades, like, and it has like some
Yeah.
good Sigma moments as well. It has like, oh, it's Smith and Wesson. You've had your six, and like, it sets up James Bond so much. Like,
Yeah.
it feels like From Russia with Love feels almost like a Red Grant film,
Yeah,
almost.
does it have Red Grant in it though?
Yeah, that's not. This is a James Bond film,
That's a good point.
not a Red Grant.
Yeah, no, but this is James Bond, like his like alter ego, man. Like if he joins
Yeah.
Spexy, you know what
That's-
he'd be like.
Dark Bond, Dark
Yeah.
Sigma, you know.
But
Yeah.
that's what the Sigma rankings for. Okay, like the films are completely.
know.
Yeah, but it's taking it all into account.
Yeah, that's just one aspect.
I
though,
think
like,
what
And
goes
also-
against- yeah.
Something I'd also like to mention, the locations and like the shots of this is like like, this
the
chess.
locations suck in
No,
this.
no, the chess. I think the chess room itself is really
It's all
sick.
grey and communist, man. You know.
Yeah,
I think what goes against From Russia with
maybe
Love.
I'm just a
'cause
sucker for
you're on the
communism.
From Russia with Love camp. Tom's on the Doctor No camp. I'm very much on the fence. And my line of thought is the fact that Doctor No is far more rewatchable than From Russia with Love. It's more entertaining. Now, I think it's a difficult one. It's a really difficult one. It would depend what hat I'm wearing. If I was like an objective film critic sort of thing, From Russia with Love is for sure a better film. For sure. It is just a better film, like objectively speaking. But as a fan, as a Bond fan, where I'm like rewatching these and I'm like thinking which, on Sunday night, which one do I want to kick back and watch? Doctor No would easily win that every time.
Well, actually, no.
And they both
I
set up
I
tropes.
remember.
They both set up a lot of tropes.
I
From
remember-
Russia
I
with
remember
Love
back
continues a
we-
lot of them, and Doctor No sets up a lot of them, and then From Russia with Love brings in its own ones as well, just like
Well, James, I would like to cast your mind back to when we were ranking the Batman. When I said I would rather watch The Dark Knight Rises, on a Sunday afternoon, but the Batman is objectively speaking a better film. So
yeah, but we're not objective. We're James Bond fans, so like we can't pretend that we're
Be logically consistent, James. Make your choice.
Yeah, but this is a completely different franchise. You like
No,
Batman.
I'm just calling back to that. Like,
You're just trying to
because
get
you just
James-
missed. I know it's just because James just missed my use of that logic earlier. So
Oh, this is tough, man.
There's nothing that
think
beats Doctor No's like shots, location, building the
this is
setting the
pretty good. Yeah,
stage.
going to
It's got,
Turkey
like,
and Yugoslavia and
it's like who
Italy,
the only
man.
character
It's pretty
the only
good.
character that you really remember that's like iconic and you can like go to anybody on the street about from Russia with love.
We're not talking about people on the street, man. I'm talking about cultured
Yeah,
Bond
well,
fans
we
here.
were evaluating
Kronstein, Rosa Klebb, Red Grant, Blofeld himself, may I say?
who's off screen and is played by Den anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you don't have him. It's part of the reveal, man. Like, it's like
Yeah,
builds it
that's-
up.
the reveal is the reveal, and that belongs to you.
And also,
from Russia.
Spectre's quite a bit more of a threat in here because, like, messing up the space race versus like, making the Cold War basically go off between Britain and Russia is pretty like, while also
But
playing them
they
off
do-
against
they
each
do-
other and getting a lecture out of it is like pretty like.
That's a sign of the times, though, and you could say like the radio beam thing is actually it holds up better than that.
Do you know what? For me,
Since then, Russia's like
my head's telling me From Russia with Love. My heart's telling me Doctor No. That's literally where I'm at right now. And the weirdest thing about this whole episode is built up to me making a choice here, which I've never been able to make in my life. I've always had these films that equal, where I'm like, yeah, they're both, because they're both pre-Goldfinger, so it's like, yeah, they're both basically setting up Bond, and they're both like low-key sort of films.
just evaluate it.
And Sean Connery is better in this one, I think.
You got in Doctor No, you've got Honey Rider better than Tatiana. Doctor No slightly better than Rosa Claire. You got Quarry's better than Karen Bay. You have to like.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you
know,
also
as
have
much as I
Felix
love Red
like
Grant,
sunglasses, may I say?
as much as I love Red Grant, I think it's countered a little bit by. You're mentioning all the strengths, Henry, but you're not mentioning Karen Bay.
Yeah, I know, but you say that like Karen
think
Bay's a
that's
weakness.
stupid.
You're not mentioning all the like really like cringe sexism as well.
Yeah, true.
To Rick Bozo as well, who's agent, who doesn't even get words in the film.
Oh man!
And the gypsy scene.
You do have verify your clock though.
There's nothing.
Yeah, that is true.
There's nothing in the whole of like Doctor No that is.
You do have the 007 theme as
Yeah,
well.
You
that's
don't have
pretty
anything
nice.
in Doctor No that's as dead as the gypsy camp part.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah, I think I will give it to Doctor No. Tom sold me there. Doctor No goes number 1, and From Russia with Love number 2. Yeah, they're both good.
It's again like when it comes to the competition of which one is like better, and it gets this close, it just shows they're both very good.
Yeah, right.
So
I mean,
it's something to be
again,
happy about.
I would
really.
not argue with anyone who swapped it either. I would respect anyone who puts From Russia with Love first, but for the millionth official ranking, Doctor No is number 1, remains number 1 for now. We'll see if that changes, because next week we are reviewing the big daddy of Bond films, Goldfinger, which I am very excited for. It was the first Bond film I ever saw, at the age of 7.
Wow.
So, final words from you chaps?
Well, From Turkey with Love is like good in its like own kind of like strong suit of like spy thriller, but it is like entertainment at the end of the day, and we have to put the plot in, which is really top tier, like and like mix it in with the characters and stuff, which kind of like I don't know, it's again like reading a really good book and then again and again, and it's just like you can only get something once, and in that moment, From Us with Love like is the best it can be in my opinion, but outside of that, it's just a bit niche, like in a way, when it comes to appreciating that sort of thing.
Well,
And James Bond films aren't really meant to be niche.
Well, on my end, I'd like to quote Tom Hanks. You can tell a lot about a man by his shoes. In this case, Rosa Klebb, except she's not a man.
Wise words. Yeah, what he said. So, again, do us a favour, by the way, for our Spotify listeners. Please make sure you leave us a 5-star review. That'd be great. Pushes us up the charts and, just gets us close to that, millionaire dream that we have. So,
exactly.
give us a 5-star review on Spotify if you're listening there, because I know you cheeky devils are out there, and I am amongst you. So, respect to anyone listening on Spotify. And of course YouTube subscribers as well, and yeah, we'll be back next week for Goldfinger, same bat time, same bat channel.